Chapter 1757. Waiting in the territory of the Demon Pond. Many people were looking for Lin Feng, but the area was too vast. Finding someone was too difficult. Yin Qing Yan and the others gathered again. The young man from the Sun Holy clan said icily, "Since he's a student at Champion University, let's wait for him there." "Do you really want him as an enemy?" asked Yin Qing Yan. Yang Yin was a direct descendant of the Sun Holy clan. Otherwise he wouldn't have had the Sun Disc. Lin Feng killed him and stole the disc. He has also killed other people from the Sun Holy clan. How could I let him off? Yang Chu-gu replied coldly. "As you wish, but you're ranked. If you fight against a new student, I won't get involved." Yin Qing Yin returned primly. "No need, I can solve the issue myself," answered Yang Chu-gu. And everyone began to depart. The others also started leaving, especially after learning that Lin Feng was a student at Champion University. Many people wanted to wait for him there. Regarding Lin Feng, he was in his small world and bombarding the dragon with attacks. The dragon kept roaring. He looked ferocious, but his cosmic energies were restrained. In the outside world, cultivators could borrow the cosmic energies of the earth and the sky. They were in symbiosis with nature. But in that world, the dragon's cosmic energy reserves were already empty. He could only use his physical strength to fight against Lin Feng. But it wasn't enough to pose a threat to Lin Feng. Lin Feng kept releasing death-cursing energies, corroding the dragon's body and life. The dragon's life was being drained out slowly. He couldn't escape. "I will destroy you," swore the dragon, releasing a terrifying chi. He had a huge wound on his back now, and it was getting bigger and bigger. "Stop resisting. I'm doing this for another dragon. You won't die," Lin Feng promised, and a dragon chant spread in the air. Dragon scales appeared and his blood started boiling. Behind him, a dragon head slowly appeared. It was a real dragon. Its body was black and it looked ferocious. A dragon? The flood dragon was stunned. Lin Feng had a dragon in his body. "Indeed, this dragon is in my blood. It's part of my strength. If you and that dragon fuse together, you'll become extremely strong," Lin Feng said evenly. "Even though you have a terrifying physical strength, you won't resist much longer. If you continue, I will kill you." The flood dragon looked unhappy, but he understood that Lin Feng was telling the truth. He was very strong and aggressive, and if he wanted he could kill the dragon. The dragon suddenly looked sad. It had taken him tens of thousands of years to turn into a flood dragon, and now he was going to become a slave. "Stop resisting. It's for your own good," Lin Feng said pitilessly. "I didn't use precious treasures because I was scared of killing you. If you continue resisting, I won't hesitate anymore." The sun disk appeared. Lin Feng didn't want to kill the dragon, otherwise his blood would become less useful. The thunder hammer appeared. Those two treasures were terrifying together, thunder and fire appearing around them, as Lin Feng got closer to the dragon. "Come, be a good boy now. You will live for a very long time through your blood. I will let you keep a thread of will. Your will never disperse that way." The dragon raised his head and roared in anguish, making the sky shake. After a long time, the dragon looked up at Lin Feng sullenly. "All right, I'll do as you wish. That's the right decision." Lin Feng smiled. He landed on the back of the dragon, and his nine-headed dragon spirit appeared and absorbed the dragon's blood. A few hours later in the cave, demon strength rolled in waves. A dragon chant spread in the air, and a fearsome pitch-black demonic strength condensed. Outside of the cave, grass undulated. The mountain was shaking at the same pace as the dragon chant. Rumbling sounds spread out. A silhouette came out of the cave. The terrifying demon energy became even more intense. Lin Feng was surrounded by Devamara strength. He raised his head and looked at the sky, as Devamara strength descended from above and pierced through his body. Dark lights flew throughout his physical body. Boom boom. More Devamara strength bombarded Lin Feng's body. But he wasn't afraid. Even thought the Devamara strength was getting more and more intense. Finally the Kulpa strength dispersed. Lin Feng was up in the sky, cleaned by Devamara strength 4 times already. His physical body was becoming more and more dauntless. However, at that moment a powerful bestial chi rose nearby. Lin Feng frowned, took out his boat and left. He couldn't stay there, otherwise it would draw people's attention. Outside of Champion University, there were students, and also some people who weren't students there waiting. Yang Chuge, are you sure Lin Feng stole the flood dragon? Lung Xia asked Yang Chuge. He had already contacted some people from Ji Cheng's club. They were initially going to go to the demon pond, and then they encountered Yang Chuge on the way, so they had come back. Apparently, Lin Feng had stolen the flood dragon. Yang Chuge didn't reply. He glanced at Lung Xia. Lung Xia was the 6th student, and he was the 7th, precisely because he had lost against Xia. Yang Chuge didn't like Lung Xia. He hoped to surpass the other someday. When Lung Xia saw Yang Chuge remain silent, he smiled coldly and said, Yang Chuge, you're lucky you're the 7th student. You should pay more attention to Ji Cheng's club instead of following that girl. You could become something. Stop it with your nonsense. I will soon challenge you in Puyang. Yang Chuge shot back. The 5th and 6th students were both members of Ji Cheng's club. Anytime, Lung Xia smiled back. How noisy, something is going on. At that moment, someone appeared in the distance. He was wearing white clothes and had his hands in his sleeves. He smiled at the crowd. People raised their heads and looked surprised, even a bit scared. Jingshou, this guy was extremely dangerous. Miss Qing Yin is here too. Jingshou looked at Yun Qing Yin and nodded. Why shouldn't I be here? Asked Yun Qing Yin frowning. She looked back at Jingshou and said, Jingshou, you haven't joined any group. You should stay with me and join the Yun Club. Nah, if I follow you every day, I'll lose my mind and fall in love, and then you'll abandon me. Jingshou smiled. Then, he looked at the crowd and asked with a chuckle, who wants to challenge whom? I've heard that you are an assassin, Jingshou, is that true? Asked a young man, grinning at Jingshou. Since you've heard that, it can only be true, replied Jingshou modestly. I'd like to see your hands, the young man said impolitely. I've heard that Shi from the Celestial Godly University had dragon blood, and had gone to the demon pond to hunt dragons. What is he doing here? Jingshou replied easily. Then, he looked at the crowd and smiled further. I see. Some students from Champion University must have obtained dragons. And now they're waiting for the ones with the dragons to come back to Champion University, because they are not happy. So what? Shi challenged him. Nothing, I just want to watch people fight. Jingshou shrugged, stepping aside to wait. Lin Feng didn't know about any of that. He was on his boat flying at full speed. When he drew nearer to the university, he saw some people on the horizon. They seemed to be waiting for something. Lin Feng stopped his boat and examined the crowd. He understood they were waiting for him. Interesting. Jingshou saw Lin Feng and looked amused. That guy had taken a dragon in front of everybody and dared show up again. Such people were rare. Even though Jingshou wasn't interested in the dragon, he knew that he couldn't defeat a dragon alone. Chapter 1758. Aggressive, you finally came back, shouted Yang Chuge. Then, he walked up to Lin Feng, his eyes filled with scorching hot flames. Lin Feng looked at the crowd disdainfully. Those people were ridiculous. They had been waiting for him. I'm back. What do you want? Lin Feng asked indifferently. You hid the flood dragon and summoned some kind of treasure. Show it to us, ordered Yang Chuge, staring at Lin Feng. The others also walked forwards and surrounded Lin Feng. People from Champion University want to join hands with people from other universities. But here we're just outside Champion University, said Lin Feng looking at the crowd coldly. Yang Chuge was also a student at Champion University, and Lin Feng had already seen Lung Xia in the Edict Palace. He was a member of Ji Cheng's club. The others were probably from other universities. The people coming in and out of the university were surprised to see all those people surrounding someone. They were interested once they found out those people were arguing over the flood dragon. They had also heard about that in the Edict Palace. The 4 universities of the Holy City have rules. If students want to challenge other students, they have to do inside the university. If both parties agree, students can fight on the battle stage, said Jingshou indifferently. It's funny to see so many strong cultivators surround a new student though, including the 6th and 7th student. People frowned. So many strong cultivators were surrounding a new student. That was shameless indeed. That guy stole the flood dragon. We can't let him off. Yang Chuge retorted. Since you had the dragon and he stole it from you, it means that you guys suck at cultivation, Jing Shou judged calmly. Yang Chuge was infuriated. Lin Feng had taken the flood dragon in front of so many people. They had been too careless indeed. Everybody had seen Lin Feng, and still he had escaped. Lin Feng looked at Jing Shou. That guy was mysterious. He looked and sounded like a killer. If you want the flood dragon, come on then, said Lin Feng. Walked forwards. Yang Chuge pulled a long face and released a terrifying and scorching sun. It was different from Yang Yan's sun though. Yang Chuge's was much more powerful. Several suns appeared, containing terrifying sword energies that moved towards Lin Feng at full speed. Lin Feng frowned. An armor appeared and he stuck forward with both hands. A purple tank appeared and slammed into the incoming blades. The sun swords broke apart and exploded. Lin Feng continued walking forwards. He didn't use any treasures, so Yang Chuge couldn't either. Otherwise he would lose face. He walked forwards too, looking like a dazzling sun. Die! Someone shouted furiously. Suddenly, a gigantic bird of fire moved towards Lin Feng at full speed. Imprison! Lin Feng shook his hand and Devamarakalpa's strength blocked the gigantic fire bird and imprisoned it. However, the gigantic bird quickly broke free. Rule! Lin Feng rose up in the air, and his Devamarakalpa turned into a web which destroyed the gigantic bird. Slice! Yang Chuge rose up in the air, condensing sun swords which charged towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng sensed a powerful strength. Yang Chuge was very strong. He was in the top 10 at university. His cosmic energies were already level 7. He could even kill medium-level emperors easily. Lin Feng suddenly released extraordinary immortal and demonic energies, looking like a demon king. His eyes were filled with death energies. His robe was fluttering in the wind. In a short time, Lin Feng's chi had completely changed. He looked like a death god. Die! Thunder descended from the sky, clouds appeared, sword lights moved chaotically. The death god Lin Feng rose up in the air. Yang Chuge was stunned. He had the feeling he wasn't facing a human being anymore. 4 energies destructive assassination. Yang Chuge was dumbstruck. He couldn't believe that Lin Feng had studied the 4 energies destructive assassination. It meant that he could also make 4 types of energies fuse together and use them as a spell. That was unbelievable. Wind energies surrounded Lin Feng. Yang Chuge had the sensation that his will was being destroyed. At the same time, death energies rose up in the air. He started running away, but Lin Feng followed him at full speed and shouted furiously. His purple tank appeared again and streaked across the sky. Piss off! Magnificent and dazzling sword lights appeared and destroyed the purple tank. However, Yang Chuge didn't look happy, and Lin Feng only smiled coldly. Lin Feng continued towards the entrance of Champion University. Yang Chuge didn't chase him. His hands were shaking on the holy light sword he was holding. He's so strong. Surprisingly, Yang Chuge had to use his holy light sword. Thought the crowd astonished. Most of them now knew that Lin Feng was the one who had been abandoned by the gods in the vast celestial ancient city, but that he understood 7 types of cosmic energies. At that moment, he had already used several sorts of cosmic energies, but they weren't the cosmic energies of the earth and the sky, but somehow his own. It seemed like his own cosmic energies had no limits. It was strange. They didn't understand how he could do that. People who hadn't broken through to the Huangqi layer, but who understood cosmic energies, didn't have access to an unlimited amount of cosmic energies. But Lin Feng seemed to be different. Maybe it was because he understood several sorts of cosmic energies? Yang Chuge, as a cultivator, it's normal to lose sometimes. Don't take it to heart. Practice more and someday you'll surpass him, Yun Qingyan said with a polite smile. She headed into Champion University, and many other people did the same. They had all seen how strong Lin Feng was. They couldn't afford to underestimate him. He had even defeated Yang Chuge. It seems that the 7th student is not that good, Leng Xia remarked with freezing irony and burning satire. He entered the university too. Leng Xia wondered who would win between him and Lin Feng. If he had been Yang Chuge, he wouldn't have laughed. It seems that everyone from Ji Chang's club is being defeated. Those new students are strong, thought Leng Xia. After a short time, everyone was back inside the university. The other students didn't have champion cards, but they could also go inside Champion University sometimes. That was a rule the 4 universities had agreed on in the Holy City. Students could go to other universities as they wished, but of course, they couldn't go to places like Champion Hall or Edict Palace. What's going on? At that moment, people who were in Champion University noticed Lin Feng. He was being followed by many other people. They were surprised. I recognize him, he's a new student. He became a student 3 months ago. He's extremely arrogant. He offended Princess Yuan, and then Ji Chang's club. He's strange though. You're talking about Lin Feng, I guess? I've heard of him. He's from the vast celestial ancient city. Back then at the Ice Moon Lake, he was about to break through to the Huangqi layer but it failed. The gods didn't let him become an emperor. But in the end he decided to defy them, and now he controls 7 types of cosmic energies. Everybody knows about that in the vast celestial ancient city. He's very strong. Someone else informed them proudly, then joined the crowd to watch. Imperial Culpa? I don't think he can defeat potential champions of the university with the strength of the Zunqi layer. Hehe, you can't underestimate him. What Zun cultivator could understand 7 sorts of cosmic energies? Have you ever heard of such a thing? Indeed, I've never heard of that. But the problem is that if he remains an Imperial Culpa, he'll be stuck at some point, and he'll never become a champion. People were making comments about Lin Feng as more and more people gathered. Chapter 1759. Ji Wuyo. At that moment, some people were fighting on the battle stage, and many people were watching. Ji Chang's club star group had been humiliated twice because of new students, and needed to regain their reputation. Princess Yuan and Puyang had gone, and looked for the new students who were extremely strong. One of them was elegant and called Ho Qing Lin. The other one was a Buddhist monk, and called Tianqi. They were fellow disciples. Yuan Ho also came to see the battle. Many people from the star group were there. They couldn't afford to lose. Puyang was going to fight against Ho Qing Lin, and Princess Yuan against Tianqi, and Ho Qing Lin had also become famous at university. Each time people of Ji Chang's club lost, their members felt even more under pressure. Ho Qing Lin could have refused Puyang's challenge, as his ranking wasn't as high as Puyang's. But he hadn't refused, he liked to fight, so it was a good exercise. Bzz. Puyang looked at the 2 disciples and shouted furiously, "Come here." Ho Qing Lin rose up in the air and jumped onto the battle stage. His robe was fluttering in the wind. He looked determined and focused. At the same time, Yuan Jing also looked at Tianqi, put his palms together, and golden lights emerged. The 2 battles had started. Interesting. I've been a student for a few years, and I've never seen such interesting new students. They're extremely strong, and on top of that, they're not from the Holy City, whispered someone in the crowd watching the battle. But Puyang is the 5th student. Ho Qing Lin can't defeat him. I've heard that Ho Qing Lin uses reincarnation cosmic energy. It's a very rare kind of energy. He must have a special bloodline. Back then, I had a friend who knew reincarnation energy too. He was very talented. However, he didn't manage to break through to the Huangqi layer, because his reincarnation energy wouldn't turn into reincarnation cosmic energy. Ho Qing Lin is really talented. Reincarnation energy is rare indeed, I don't know why, commented someone else. On the battle stage, the battles had already started. Puyang was condensing thunder and empty space cosmic energies. His attacks were aggressive and explosive. The atmosphere was filled with thunder. Ho Qing Lin released reincarnation cosmic energy, the atmosphere around him distorting. Sword lights appeared around him. Puyang waved his hand, and an empty space light beam appeared. It fused together with thunder energies and surrounded Ho Qing Lin. Cut! A reincarnation curtain appeared around Ho Qing Lin. It seemed like it could absorb anything, including his opponent's thunder. These reincarnation energies are incredible, thought the crowd. Those 2 people were incredibly strong. Puyang's cosmic energies were already level 8, and Ho Qing Lin's cosmic energies were level 7. However, Puyang's dual cosmic energies were still absorbed by the reincarnation cosmic energies. Nothing could escape from them. Puyang jumped forwards. He wanted to try close combat. Thunders descended from the sky. The atmosphere turned purple. His empty space energies also surrounded Ho Qinglin again. Come and taste my reincarnation strength. Ho Qinglin invited him coldly. Reincarnation energies surrounded Puyang, who groaned dully. It was difficult to get close. Ho Qinglin's energy was destroying all his cosmic energies. How was that possible? Usually, such a thing happened only when there was a big level difference between two cultivators. Azura absorb, Ho Qinglin said calmly. He used his Azura reincarnation strength to destroy his enemy's cosmic energies. Then his energies penetrated into his opponent's body. You want to die? Puyang's expression changed drastically. He continued running towards Ho Qinglin. Explosions kept spreading in the air as their energies met. Body reincarnation! Shouted Ho Qinglin quickly, turning into an illusion as his spirit appeared. He could make anything disappear into the reincarnation wheel of life. How powerful! Reincarnation cosmic energies, reincarnation spirit perfect, thought the crowd. On the other side, Tianqi and Yu Wenjing were also fighting. Yu Wenjing was using her 4 seasons attack, which involved using 4 different types of cosmic energies. Tianqi was defending so far. He looked like an indestructible Buddha, remaining motionless. He kept chanting mantras which turned into terrifying attacks. People were so captivated by the battles that they didn't notice that a big group of people had appeared in the distance. When Lin Feng arrived, he was surprised at what he was seeing and sped up. When he arrived at the crowd, he was pleasantly surprised, suddenly smiled broadly. They're here, thought Lin Feng, looking at Ho Qinglin and Tianqi. They hadn't changed at all. They just kept becoming more and more elegant and stronger too. Lin Feng was very happy to see that they had become strong. They had probably gone through lots of hardship. Puyang. Lung Xia looked at Puyang and Yu Wenjing strangely. Those people were fighting against new students. This year, the new students are incredible. Reincarnation strength, Buddhist cultivation. Such cultivators are rare, thought Yuanho and the other members of the star group watching the battle. Yuanho tried to look unmoved, but on the inside he was very nervous. He knew perfectly well that Puyang and Yu Wenjing were very strong. Ordinary low-level emperors couldn't defeat them. They could even defeat medium-level emperors. But at university, it was a different story. Yuan, he's here, whispered someone next to Yuanho. Yuanho gazed into the distance and saw someone in fine clothes. That person also looked arrogant and proud, as if he considered everybody and everything beneath his notice. He's also interested in these battles? Thought Yuanho with a smile. That guy had become the first student a year before, and since then, nobody had challenged him again. He was very strong and talented, quite extraordinary. He also had an incredible fellow disciple. Ji Wuyo was the first student. He had defeated Jing Shou back then, and become the first on the list. Nobody dared fight against him anymore. Ji Wuyo was also Ji Chang's younger brother. Ji Wuyo. Someone noticed Ji Wuyo at the same time in the crowd. They were startled to see him. It had been a year since they had seen him on a battle stage. Rumors said that he was practicing really hard to become stronger. His goal was to become a champion, not a potential champion. Jing Shou was smiling indifferently, but when he heard Ji Wuyo's name, he suddenly frowned, turned his head, and saw Ji Wuyo. He looked at him icily. He had lost against the other back then. It was the reason he was in second place on the list. Now it was almost impossible for him to rise up in the ranking list. Ji Wuyo looked calm and aloof. He walked over to Yuanho and watched the battles. How come you came today? Yuanho asked Ji Wuyo. The Yuan clan wants an alliance by marriage with my clan, right? Ji Wuyo replied indifferently. Yuanho smiled and said, You and Princess Yuan would be a perfect couple. Ji Wuyo didn't say anything. He just watched Yu Wenjing on the battle stage. Chapter 1760. 6 people fight Ji Wuyo. Who do you think will win between the princess and the Buddhist monk? Yuanho asked Ji Wuyo in a low voice. The battle is balanced, but the Yuan clan has some great secret qi, right? Yu Wenjing also knows the strength of the 4 seasons. If she uses her full strength, the Buddhist monk can't defeat her. Ji Wuyo judged calmly. Yuanho smiled. Ji Wuyo was favoring the Yuan clan. But Puyang can't win, judged Ji Wuyo, watching Ho Qinglin and Puyang. Yuan Ho frowned and looked at Ho Qinglin's cosmic energies. He wasn't weaker than Puyang, and his cosmic energies were terrifying. In addition, his cosmic energies and his spirit were a perfect match. A reincarnation energy curtain surrounded Puyang, and Azura strength rose to the heavens. Tianqi and Yuan Jing's battle was incredible. A gigantic golden hand moved towards Yuan Jing at full speed, while at the same time, Yuan Jing released a Four Seasons attack. Tianqi's golden hand then disappeared. Yet the energies continued moving towards Tianqi. Even a medium-level emperor couldn't resist such an attack. Oh no, Lin Feng frowned. Yuan Jing had a hidden qi. It was fearsome. Lights shone. Tianqi's body became golden, and a Buddha appeared. Yuan Jing's strength bombarded Tianqi's Buddha, but the Buddha remained motionless. A metallic sound spread in the air. Some ice and fire energies penetrated into the Buddha before it shattered. Tianqi was propelled violently backwards, but at the same time, he was chanting mantras and his voice turned into golden hand imprints. Destroy, destroy, destroy. His voice echoed all around. At that same moment, Puyang was being bombarded by Ho Qinglin and was forced backwards. Puyang glared at Tianqi icily. Since we're on the same battle stage, let's fight together, snarled Puyang. Throwing himself at Tianqi, Ho Qinglin looked at him in an icily and released an Azura sword, shouting, "Be careful." Tianqi sensed that Puyang was attacking him, and Yuan Jing was still releasing energies. He was stuck. He released more golden Buddha lights which surrounded his body and turned into armor. Boom! Puyang assaulted Tianqi again, condensing cosmic energies. Bastard! Lin Feng was furious when he saw that. He immediately rose up in the air and landed next to Tianqi. Piss off! A purple tank shook the air. Lin Feng dragged Tianqi away and threw a talisman into the air. They immediately disappeared and reappeared on the edge of the battle stage. Yuan Jing bombarded the atmosphere where Lin Feng and Tianqi were originally, but there was nobody there anymore. Teleportation deployment strength. The crowd was astonished. How had Lin Feng appeared on stage? It's Lin Feng. Someone recognized Lin Feng, the student who had joined the university 3 months before. Why was he on stage now? Lin Feng. Tianqi was dumbstruck. He could only scratch his head and smile. Brother, Lin Feng replied, smiling back. It had been such a long time since they had last seen each other. They probably had millions of things to tell each other. I'm so happy to see you, Tianqi exclaimed. Then, he turned to Ho Qinglin beaming. Brother, it's Lin Feng. I know it's Lin Feng, replied Ho Qinglin, also smiling broadly. He wasn't blind. Brother. Lin Feng looked at Ho Qinglin, who was running towards them. He hadn't changed at all. He still looked elegant and strong. Brother. The crowd was stupefied. Did Lin Feng know those guys? Were they his fellow disciples too? 3 fellow disciples? Who is their teacher? Are they from a holy clan? Wondered many people aloud. Those 3 people had ended up in Champion University together, and were fellow disciples. The crowd was astonished. They didn't know what was going on. The battle was incredible with those 4 cultivators. You again? Yuan Jing said to Lin Feng cuttingly. Lin Feng again. It's the champion battle stage, and you dare come and fight as you wish? Demanded Puyang, staring at Lin Feng. Who do you think you are to talk to me? Said Lin Feng, glancing at him disdainfully. He had lost against Ho Qinglin, so he had decided to attack Tianqi by surprise. The 5th student is a joke, mocked Lin Feng. Puyang looked furious. At that moment, Lung Xia jumped onto the battle stage and shouted, You dared get involved while people were battling, you should die. Ho Qinglin spat back. Initially there were 2 battles. That bastard suddenly attacked Tianqi by surprise. And now you say Lin Feng should die? We're now 6. Let's have a battle to the death. That bastard, a battle to the death. When the crowd heard Ho Qinglin, they were astonished all over again. How arrogant, 6 people, a battle to death. Such battles were extremely rare. But he sounded very confident. If the other team accepted, maybe that they were all going to die. Ho Qinglin, Tianqi and Lin Feng were the 12th, 13th and 21st students. But Ho Qing Lin had just proved that he was much stronger than the fifth student Puyang. Tianqi was strong too. But people didn't know how strong Lin Feng was in comparison to the people of the top 10. Puyang, Leng Xia, and Yuan Jing were the 5th, 6th, and 14th students. But nobody knew how strong Yuan Jing really was. Her energies were terrifying. She had proven it a moment before. I would love to watch such a group battle, thought the crowd. Since Ho Qing Lin had proposed a battle to death, everyone would fight even harder. Battles to the death were dangerous things at Champion University. As long as one of cultivators accepted, then the battles were incredible and nobody could get involved. They also couldn't use special weapons, otherwise, the mysterious leaders of the university would get involved. Therefore, few people battled to death at university. Chapter 1761. My feet on your face. The 6 people dispersed. As they had agreed, Ho Qing Lin faced Yuan Jing, Tianqi faced Puyang, and Lin Feng faced Leng Xia. Of course, since it was a group battle, they could also cooperate. These fighters are all amazing, thought the crowd. All these people had the potential to rise up in the ranking list. Who do you think will win? The crowd already started trying to guess who was going to win. Princess Yuan controls the strength of the 4 seasons, and is terrifyingly strong. She also has some sort of mysterious strength. Ho Qing Lin controls reincarnation strength, and is also mysterious. Their battle will be awesome, but Princess Yuan should win. Regarding Puyang and Tianqi, Puyang should win. And finally, Leng Xia should win against Lin Feng, because Leng Xia is the 6th student. Conclusion, Ji Cheng's club should win. So you think that the new students don't stand a chance? The 3 fellow disciples can be proud of themselves, they're strong. Even if they lose, it doesn't change that, and nobody should underestimate them. Everybody expressed their views without restraining themselves. I don't think 3 members of Ji Cheng's club have ever fought at the same time as a team, said someone knowingly. This battle was special. On the vast champion battle stage, the wind was whistling and people's clothes were fluttering. Yuan Jing and Ho Qing Lin released 4 seasons energies and reincarnation energy respectively. Their attacks were beautiful and powerful. Puyang and Tianqi also started fighting. They were both aggressive and brutal. At Champion University, skills, techniques, and spells from Champion Hall were all incredible. Champion University was famous for teaching students how to be incredible fighters. 9 Cauldrons Celestial Chi Skill, Purple Lake Tank, for Energy's destructive assassination. All those were explosive and powerful attacks. And there were many more in Champion Hall. Leng Xia had studied the Deadly Imperial Punch, a deadly attack. Lin Feng could sense how terrifying his energies were. Die, snarled Leng Xia. Lin Feng sensed death energy. The wind was turning into death chi around him. Death! Lin Feng was surprised. Leng Xia controlled death cosmic energy. That was why he had managed to study the Deadly Imperial Punch. However, his death energy couldn't corrode Lin Feng's body, because Lin Feng controlled both life and death cosmic energies. Die! A purple tank appeared. Chi rolled in waves. Lin Feng's purple tank was filled with several sorts of cosmic energies, and the speed of his attack was terrifying. His tank seemed like it could blot out the sky. Destroy! The Deadly Imperial Punch and the purple tank collided. Lin Feng was behind the tank, and continued running forwards, releasing immortal and demon energies, as well as death chi. Consciousness curse. Lin Feng spat, staring at Leng Xia. He was trying to curse Leng Xia's will. You're going to die, said Lin Feng. His voice resonated in Leng Xia's brain, and his will started shaking. Lin Feng was also getting closer and closer to him. Chaotic sky. A punch destroyed the atmosphere, and moved as fast as lightning. At the same time, energies surrounded Leng Xia and corroded his skin. This guy knows so many different sorts of cosmic energies, thought the crow, impressed. Demon cosmic energy, wind cosmic energy, earth cosmic energy, death cosmic energy, thunder cosmic energy, as well as the strange cursing cosmic energy. Lin Feng didn't give Leng Xia a breath, he could only react to the attacks. Piss off! Leng Xia closed his eyes, not daring to look at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was influencing his will. He couldn't fight like that. The Deadly Imperial Punch bent the very air. Death invaded the atmosphere and stole away the light. Lin Feng couldn't get any closer. Attraction culpa, said Lin Feng, clenching his hand and attracting the Devamara culpa strength, sealing the dark area filled with death. Rule, he continued. The Devamara culpa strength started modifying and destroying his opponent's death energy. Lin Feng jumped and continued charging, holy marks appearing behind him and in front of him like a bridge. As Lin Feng was running, armor appeared around his body. At the same time, an infinity of light penetrated into his body. His chi was becoming stronger. Piss off. Suddenly, Lin Feng accelerated even further and turned into a light beam. Lin Feng's bridge of marks led straight to Wuxia, whose face turned deathly pale. His deadly imperial punch pounded against Feng's attack. However, crackling sounds spread in the air. Lin Feng's purple tank slammed into his body and damaged him. Crackling sounds spread in the air, and suddenly Wuxia was violently propelled far away. His face was deathly pale, and he coughed up blood. He violently crashed onto the ground next to the battle stage. The crowd hadn't thought that Lin Feng would be the first one to end the battle. The battle hadn't been that intense, but it was too quick, only a few seconds long. Lin Feng was incredibly strong. Wuxia is the 6th-ranked student, which means that Lin Feng should now be the 6th student. Everyone realized. Lin Feng was still considered a new student and was already in the top 10. Regarding Ho Qinglin, no matter what, he was also in the top 10 because he had defeated Puyang just before this. After this battle, all those people's ranking would change. Tianqi and Puyang's duel was intense and violent. They kept bombarding each other with brutal attacks. Tianqi was a Buddhist cultivator. His body was as hard as gold. Lin Feng already won. Now if Lin Feng continues fighting, the battle will be even scarier, thought the crowd. If Lin Feng intervened, the result of the battle would be easy to predict. Lin Feng was terrifying. Puyang understood that too. He pulled a long face. How could he fight peacefully with Lin Feng watching them? Fight fairly, shouted Puyang aggressively at Tianqi. You attacked me by surprise a moment ago, and now you're talking about fighting fairly? How shameless. After Tianqi replied, Lin Feng immediately intervened. He didn't feel like being polite to such despicable people. Brother, let's crush him, Lin Feng said to Tianqi, smiling grimly. Tianqi obeyed and attacked even more violently. He was chanting mantras in a clear, melodious, pure, deep, and far-reaching Brahma voice, every word containing explosive energies which bombarded Puyang. Puyang's expression changed drastically. He released thunder energies and retreated at full speed. Bzzz. Lin Feng moved like the wind, as fast as lightning, and used his Devamara Kulpa punch. Lin Feng had been cleansed by the Devamara Kulpa strength 4 times. His physical body was incredibly strong. Boom! Puyang suddenly turned around and collided with Lin Feng. An incredible pain invaded his body. Devamara Kulpa's strength was incredibly destructive. A gigantic golden hand moved towards Puyang at the same time. His face was deathly pale. He tried to run away, but the golden hand crushed him down. Blood splashed all around. Lin Feng jumped and landed on Puyang's head, crushing him into the ground. Puyang's body was now thrust deep into the ground of the battle stage. If Lin Feng hadn't arrived earlier, Puyang would have attacked Tianqi by surprise and killed, or injured him really badly. Lin Feng and Tianqi couldn't let Puyang off anymore. Therefore, they joined hands and were merciless. Those 2 guys are cruel and pitiless, thought the crowd. But Puyang had attacked Tianqi by surprise after all, so it was normal. Lin Feng is a demon cultivator. His attacks are brutal and aggressive. Tianqi is a Buddhist cultivator. He looks gentle and innocent, but actually he's a real killer, and he can be merciless. The crowd enjoyed that battle. Tianqi was merciless too, and he jumped onto Puyang's face after Lin Feng. Puyang is the 5th student. How tragic and humiliating. The crowd could imagine how Puyang felt desperate. Besides, by humiliating Puyang like that, the whole Jicheng's club star group felt humiliated. Of the 3 cultivators of the star group who were fighting against Lin Feng, and the others, 2 had already been defeated. Since Jicheng had created Jicheng's club, such a horrible thing had never happened to them. Chapter 1762. Cyan Dragon Totem in the crowd amongst the battle stage. Yuan Ho was the one who looked the angriest. He was in charge of Ji Chang's club's star group. When the star group was humiliated, Yuan Ho was the most humiliated, so of course he wasn't happy. Puyang and Leng Xia were 5th and 6th ranked, but they were also 2nd and 3rd generals of the star group. Apart from Ji Wuyo, they were the 2 strongest cultivators of the star group. However, Ji Wuyo was a member of the star group because he was related to Ji Chang. Lin Feng jumped on Puyang again. Puyang's face was completely deformed, and bleeding pieces of flesh hung from his face. It looked horrible. He could have never thought he'd look so pitiful someday. The crowd was like him. They had never thought something like that would ever happen to him. Lin Feng was extremely cruel. When Yang Chuge saw that, he was furious and shook with rage. Lin Feng was too strong. Even he probably couldn't defeat the new student. Hee, those people won't get the Flood Dragon in the end. I really need him to join the Yun Club. Yun Qingyan smiled. Her beautiful eyes were twinkling. Scram now. Lin Feng kicked Puyang violently. Lin Feng hated such people. The kick propelled the unconscious Puyang off of the battle stage. This battle is over, it seems the crowd considered. Puyang had lost, Leng Xia had lost. Yuan Jing was the last one on stage. She didn't need to continue fighting. Lin Feng and Tian Qi walked towards Ho Qing Lin and surrounded Yuan Jing. Even though they didn't release their qi, Yuan Jing was terrified. After all, how could she fight alone against 3 monstrous cultivators? But the problem was that she couldn't surrender yet, as Lin Feng and Tian Qi hadn't gotten involved. Besides, how could she surrender? Ho Qing Lin was feeling fine. His Azura reincarnation assassination attack was getting more and more intense. Yuan Jing sensed the danger. Enough, a loud voice said at that moment. The crowd frowned. The person who had spoken up was Ji Wuyo. He had chosen to get involved. Ji Wuyo was abnormally strong. Many people said that with his strength, he could easily defeat ordinary medium-level emperors. He had the potential to become a champion, and was extremely proud. Some people also said that even if the few people after him in the ranking list joined hands to fight against him, they wouldn't be able to defeat him. They didn't want to test that theory out, however. Lin Feng and Tian Qi turned towards Ji Wuyo. He was very arrogant, as if nobody could go against his will. It was the first time that Lin Feng had seen Ji Wuyo, so he didn't recognize him. Even though he didn't know him, he could sense that he was extremely strong. With some people, you couldn't see if they were strong, and with some others it was obvious. Ji Wuyo belonged to the 2nd category. Another member of Ji Chang's club thought Lin Feng. Ji Wuyo was standing next to Yuan Ho. However, Lin Feng ignored Ji Wuyo's words entirely. Tian Qi put his palms together, calm and serene, also ignoring Ji Wuyo. Regarding Ho Qing Lin, he ignored him as well. He was fighting. How could he let exterior things influence him? The crowd around the battle stage suddenly quieted down and stopped talking because of Ji Wuyo. He had made the crowd stop talking or moving, but not the fighters just ignored him. I told you to stop fighting, shouted Ji Wuyo furiously. He then jumped forwards and moved like the wind. We're on the champion battle stage of Champion University. Do you think you can interrupt battles as you wish? Shouted Tian Qi unhappily. People from Ji Chang's club acted as if the university belonged to them, and people had to obey them. Each time someone offended them, they sent cultivators to deal with them, and the cultivators were always stronger and stronger. I told you to stop, so you have to stop, declared Ji Wuyo, running towards the battle stage. He looked insane and arrogant. He was insane, but he was also extremely strong and talented. He had the potential to become a peerless cultivator in life. His brother was an incredible cultivator and had amazed the entire city. Only the champion Ying Cheng, from the Celestial Godly University, could compete with him. Ying Cheng was also the only person Ji Chang considered worth worrying about. Ji Chang's brother was younger than him, but he was also incredible. He had amazed Champion University, so new students couldn't really go against him. If he told them to stop, they had to. Lin Feng looked at Ho Qing Lin and Yuan Jing, totally furious. Suddenly, he punched the atmosphere. a purple tank streaked across the sky and moved towards Yuan Jing at full speed. "Bastard!" shouted Ji Wuyo at the top of his voice. He accelerated as a light beam appeared. Within the light was a dragon. It looked like a totem. Cyan Dragon Totem. Thanks to their spirit and talent, the Ji clan can use the strength of the Cyan Dragon. Some of them can also turn into dragons. They're incredibly strong. The crowd looked at Ji Wuyo's Cyan Dragon Totem. It was a talent they inherited in the Ji clan. Ji Chong was even more terrifying. At that moment, 9 dragon totems had appeared in the lights. Everybody said his ability exceeded king-type bodies. His Cyan Dragon Totems were that explosive. Ji Chong could almost sweep away all other emperors. Dong! Ji Wuyo jumped, the air shook. He looked like a ferocious beast with infinite strength. He's very strong, thought Lin Feng. The Cyan Dragon Totem gave Lin Feng a similar feeling to when he saw the Frost Dragon at the 12 Shrines. As if the dragon contained endless strength. Tianqi frowned. He could also sense the terrifying energy coming in. He jumped forwards and a golden Buddha appeared behind him. 36 hands undulated on each side and turned into destructive golden energy, rising to the skies. Arg! Ji Wuyo was furious. A Cyan dragon emerged from his mouth. The air around him shook violently. The dragon looked terrifying and could make the earth and sky shake. He spat out a dragon. The crowd was absolutely stunned. Some people who had never seen him fight were dumbstruck. He was so powerful. How exciting! It made them think that his brother Ji Chong was probably even more terrifying. No wonder everybody thought that Ji Chong and Ing Chung were the strongest young people of the holy city. Ji Chong had the potential to become the next champion. It was only a matter of time, although it might take years. Boom boom boom. The gigantic golden hand broke apart and turned into an infinity of golden pieces, moving in every direction. The dragon was still there, however. It continued charging at Tianqi, jaws spread wide. The gigantic Buddha's hand descended from the sky at full speed, emitting a sonic boom, and then colliding with the Cyan dragon. Ji Wuyo continued running towards Tianqi at full speed, smiling coldly as he said, "Such a crappy guy. The worms will soon eat your corpse. You dared not listen to me? You want to bring about your own destruction." Ji Wuyo waved his hands, and the 9 other dragons roared furiously. Charging towards Tianqi, Tianqi condensed another golden Buddha, and dozens of Buddha hands sent out attacks. However, the dragons were too hard. They almost seemed indestructible. A sword light cut the sky. Tianqi's Buddha turned into a sharp sword. Suddenly, the Cyan dragons started cracking, blood splashed in the air, and it started raining blood as if they had been real dragons. The Cyan dragon attack was that terrifying. "Piss off!" Ji Wuyo punched in the direction of Tianqi's face. It didn't look like a punch, but like another raging dragon. Rumbling sounds spread in the air. The golden lights which surrounded Tianqi broke apart. He was propelled away and blood splashed in the air. Ji Wuyo's physical strength was terrifying. He was as strong as a dragon. Lin Feng didn't help, he just watched them battle. That was Tianqi's fight, and if he lost, it didn't matter. It was just an experience. Chapter 1763, Battling and Rising. "You worms think you can stop me?" Ji Wuyo bellowed furiously. He continued running as energies rolled out in every direction. Tianqi looked at Ji Wuyo and condensed more golden lights. He had to fight until the end, no matter the result of the battle. "Let me help," Lin Feng said, jumping and landing next to Tianqi. He smiled and said, "Brother, let me try." "Ha!" The crowd looked at Lin Feng. They had anticipated that Tianqi couldn't win. However, Lin Feng's strength was unfathomable. He had defeated Wuxia, but could he defeat Ji Wuyo? "Even if you join hands to fight against me, you won't win." Ji Wuyo laughed arrogantly. His Cyan dragon totem was behind him. He looked alive, lights were shining around him, and he released even more deadly qi. His Cyan dragon totem is terrifying. His physical strength is terrifying. Plus his cultivation level is at the top of the low Huang Qi layer. "I think his physical strength is better than mine," Lin Feng considered. He had seen how terrifying his attacks were when he had assaulted Tianqi a moment ago. Cosmic strength rose up to the skies and surrounded Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng condensed cosmic energies, and at the same time, his eyes looked colder and colder. His Devamara Culpa strength surrounded him, and he started charging forwards. You overestimate yourself, hissed Ji Wuyo, also running forwards. The two fighters were streaking towards each other, getting closer and closer. The Cyan dragon roared, the earth and the sky were shaking. Ji Wuyo raised his hand, and another dragon appeared containing an explosive strength. The dragon roared, the crowd narrowed their eyes, some energy spilling over, so they couldn't see clearly. Behind Lin Feng, Xian Yuan's axe appeared. It was gigantic and could cleave the sky. Piss off! Ji Wuyo punched in Lin Feng's direction. The Cyan dragon totem looked ferocious and fierce behind him. Lin Feng didn't look scared. He punched out too. Xian Yuan's axe illuminated the skies. The dragon roared. Everybody shivered. The earth and sky shook violently. Dong! The two fighters collided again. It was as if the crowd was watching two dragons battle. Dragon chants spread in the air. Everything kept shaking and terrifying dragon chi spread in every direction, astonishing the whole crowd with the pure brutal power of it. Finally, an explosion spread in the air, and both fighters were forced away. Ji Wuyo looked at Lin Feng coldly furious. Ji Wuyo had realized that Lin Feng's physical strength might be as good as his. Lin Feng's robes started fluttering even more violently, as his eyes turned pitch black. He looked fearless. He still didn't know against who he was fighting, but in any case this guy was extremely strong. With the strength of a low-level emperor, his physical strength was amazing. It was rare to see. Lin Feng didn't know who he was fighting, but the crowd certainly did. The two fighters' battle was astonishing. They had vastly underestimated Lin Feng's power, and his physical strength was terrifying too. He can compete with Ji Wuyo, even though he doesn't have the upper hand. Many people were very surprised, even Yuan Ho. Everybody had underestimated this new student. Your physical strength is not bad. No wonder you dared disobey me, said Ji Wuyo arrogantly. In Champion University, Lin Feng was the first person who had fought against Ji Wuyo using physical strength. However, was that enough? Dazzling lights appeared around Ji Wuyo, and a dragon cauldron appeared. Above the cauldron, Cyan dragon symbols appeared, undulating and containing a terrifying and oppressive strength. The cauldron was filled with a seemingly infinite amount of energy. I'll show you what it means to be strong, shouted Ji Wuyo furiously. He waved his hand and suddenly, the cauldron charged towards Lin Feng. It was like many dragons were attacking Lin Feng, all bearing fangs and brandishing claws. Dong! Lin Feng shook his hand and marks appeared, containing a terrifying strength. Lin Feng moved his hands as fast as lightning. After he moved his hands a dozen times, a gigantic deployment spell formed. His attack wasn't any weaker than the dragon cauldron. The intertwining marks turned into a gigantic set of kanji, break. At the same time, more destructive energies spread out in the air. Lin Feng put his hands together. A purple tank appeared again, and fused together with the deployment spell. Then the attack rained down. Inside the cauldron more dragons kept roaring. The cauldron collided with the tank. The air trembled. It was like the sky was going to collapse. Explosive metallic sounds spread in the air as the cauldron shattered. Ji Wuyo was astonished. He wove his hands and more dragons came out. Lights appeared and crashed onto the tank and broke it. Deployment spell. Ji Wuyo was fixedly staring at Lin Feng. This guy also controlled deployment spells? And his deployment spells were super powerful. In such a short time, he had managed to draw such powerful marks. How scary! Lin Feng has many trump cards. He even managed to get rid of Ji Wuyo's cauldron. His deployment spells are terrifying, thought the crowd. Ji Wuyo and Lin Feng had collided a few times, but surprisingly none of them had the upper hand. On the other side, Ho Qing Lin's Ahsoka reincarnation sword finally destroyed Yuan Jing's mysterious attack. Then, he released sword energies which forced Yuan Jing to flee. Yuan Jing pulled a long face. She had also lost the battle, and her team had lost. Now Ji Wuyo was fighting, but could he win? Lin Feng suddenly turned his head, and saw Yuan Jing rushing over towards him. Once he noticed her, he ran towards her which made her shout scarily. Piss off! Lin Feng condensed another purple tank which charged towards her. uncaringly brutal and violent. Yuan Jing's expression changed, and she instantly turned around and ran away. Ho Qinglin had released sword energies. Yuan Jing was now being attacked by two people at the same time. Her face was angry and helpless at the same time. The crowd was astonished. Lin Feng and Ho Qinglin were attacking her. How impolite. When they didn't like someone, nothing mattered anymore. Ji Wuyo was even more furious. He punched out in the direction of his enemies and ran towards Yuan Jing to block the purple tank. Yuan Jing could continue fighting against Ho Qinglin if she wanted to. Lin Feng groaned, and moving while releasing death chi. Yuan Jing certainly didn't feel like fighting anymore. The purple tank rained down. Yuan Jing jumped aside extremely quickly. However, Lin Feng was faster. He arrived next to her and punched her violently. Blood splashed, and Yuan Jing was propelled away. Ji Wuyo jumped up and caught her. They had lost. Ji Cheng's club's team had lost. Lung Xia had been kicked away from the battle stage. Puyang had been humiliated to the extreme. Yuan Jing had been punched out by Lin Feng, and she was bleeding. Ji Wuyo had gotten involved, and he hadn't managed to defeat them either. Ji Cheng's club had lost really badly. If Ji Wuyo hadn't gotten involved, Yuan Jing would have ended up in an even worse situation. Lin Feng landed in front of Ji Wuyo and Yuan Jing. Ho Qinglin and Tian Qi landed at his sides, and they all released qi which surrounded Yuan Jing and Ji Wuyo. Even in the ranking list, it must be difficult to find three people as strong as them, thought the crowd. Lin Feng, Tian Qi and Ho Qinglin were rising champions, who had already amazed Champion University. They were stronger than the 10 best students of the university. It had been a long time since they had seen such strong people. Chapter 1764. Exchanging views. Ji Wuyo sensed the three fellow disciples' qi. His eyes glittered. He looked proud and angry at the same time. Lin Feng was really strong, and the two others weren't weak either. If they joined hands to fight against him, he'd definitely lose. He didn't even have the upper hand when fighting one-on-one against Lin Feng. And Yuan Jing in his arms looked even more furious. She had lost. Ho Qinglin had defeated her, and then Lin Feng had punched her so hard that she had been knocked away like a rag doll. She had suffered a crushing defeat. When people on the battle stage are defeated, you get involved. It seems like university's rules don't apply here. It's the law of the jungle. You're used to doing what you wish, said Ho Qinglin coldly. The star group is like that, is it? Brother, we could create a faction too. That way, we could be as pretentious and arrogant as them. Then, we could also recruit more people and bully them, laughed Lin Feng. Ho Qinglin turned to Lin Feng. What would be the name? Ho Qinglin asked him. What about Tiantai? Asked Lin Feng with a smile. Ho Qinglin frowned. Tianqi too. Tiantai? They hadn't heard that name for a long time. You overestimate yourselves, Ji Wuyo hissed coldly. He then turned around and walked away with Yuan Jing. We'll stop temporarily for today. When we fight again, I will not be merciful again. The crowd was stupefied. Ji Wuyo's two attacks were very powerful. Had he been merciful? What would have happened if he had used his full strength? Then? No wonder he was the first student. He was Ji Cheng's younger brother, after all. Everybody thought that Lin Feng couldn't compete with Ji Wuyo again. Lin Feng was a new student, and he had managed to have such a battle against Ji Wuyo. That was pretty good already. He had already amazed the crowd. However, Jing Shou, the second student, probably was at the same level as Lin Feng. Jing Shou was in the crowd, his hands still in his sleeves, his arms crossed against his chest. He looked at the three people on stage and smiled indifferently. Those guys were strong. Ji Wuyo had been forced to retreat. If he had been able to defeat those three guys, he would have done so out of pride. But no, he was leaving. He didn't dare fight. The star group had started all that, and Ji Wuyo was so proud. He didn't want to ask his friends for help. You're keeping such a low profile now. Who ordered them to stop a moment ago? Asked someone suddenly. Tantai came out of the crowd and smiled at Lin Feng and the others. Lin Feng, you're extremely strong. I've been ranked for a short time and now surprisingly, you're in the top 10. And your two friends are extremely strong too. I admire you guys. Tantai said, looking and waving at Ho Qinglin. and Tianqi Huang Fulong had told Tantai that these guys were Lin Feng's friends. Who was their teacher? Let's go. It's not convenient to stay here, smiled Lin Feng. They quickly left the area of the battlegrounds. Yuan Ho and the other members of the Star Group also left. They had been humiliated and suffered a crushing defeat. Let's go to the Champion Palace. Many people wanted to see the new ranking list. They weren't sure about what had happened. What had the managers done? The battle had been a bit unusual. Had the ranking list changed? Many people ran to the Champion Palace. As expected, all the fighters were on the list. Ji Wuyo was still first. Lin Feng and Ji Wuyo had only exchanged a few punches. It wasn't enough to tell who was stronger. They needed to fight again. The second was still Jing Xiao. However, the third one was now Lin Feng. The crowd was shocked. Lin Feng hadn't fought against the third student, but had replaced him anyway. It meant that the university thought that Lin Feng was stronger than him, no matter what. Ho Qing Lin was now the sixth student. After all, he had defeated Puyang and Yuan Jing. But because Lin Feng had gotten involved, he wasn't the fifth, but the sixth. Yuan Jing was seventh. She had lost against Ho Qing Lin, but won against Tianqi. Tianqi was eighth. Puyang and Leng Xiao were after Tianqi from fifth and sixth. They were downgraded to ninth and 10th. The former third and fourths must be unhappy. Ho Qing Lin has never fought against them. If he fought against them, they'd probably continue falling, thought the crowd. Of course, those changes were already terrifying. In such a short time, the top 10 had completely changed. It was exciting. Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin, and Tianqi didn't care about the ranking list. All they cared about was strength. If they managed to rise in the ranking list, why not? But the most important thing was what they could get from that. Since they were rising in the ranking list, they could go to higher floors in the Edict Palace and Champion Hall. That was the most important thing. There was also the mysterious mountain in the periphery of the university. What was there? Were there great resources for cultivation? In a courtyard, Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin, Tantai and the others had assembled. Qin Wu was there too. He had seen that Lin Feng risen in the ranking list, so he had come. Lin Feng, I would have never thought that you were so strong. You're just a monster. Initially, they wanted to take the Flood Dragon from you, and in the end you crushed them, and left like a god. Nice, laughed Qin Wu. Lin Feng's performances were astounding. The news that Lin Feng had displayed such amazing strength had already spread around the university. Qin Wu also knew that Lin Feng was the one who had been abandoned by the gods in the vast celestial ancient city. Outside of the university, they wouldn't have said that. Lin Feng smiled back. Indeed, at university, students have to behave. Ji Cheng's club is very proud and arrogant, but you and your friends taught them a good lesson. It's the first time I have seen someone humiliate Ji Cheng's club. The first time Qin Wu had seen Lin Feng, he had thought he'd be crushed by Ji Cheng's club. He hadn't thought the newcomer was so strong. By the way, do you really intend to create a new faction in Champion University? Asked Qin Wu. He had heard about that. He was curious. Lin Feng glanced at Ho Qing Lin and Tianqi. They both looked moved. Tiantai was very important to them. They really wanted to make Tiantai raise in the great world. It reminded them of the small world. They had to recreate it, sooner or later. And in Champion University, there were many strong cultivators. They could recruit some of them. That would be very useful. The only problem was that they didn't know to what extent they could develop Tiantai within the university. I had the idea indeed, but I don't know if it's a good idea to do it now, nodded Lin Feng. If you create a faction, I, Qin Wu, am willing to join you. Hee, count me in too, said Tantai with a big smile. Ji Cheng's club dared act so arrogantly. If Lin Feng and his friends created Tiantai within the university, they wouldn't be able to oppress them. And I was supposed to be a member of Tiantai a while ago already. Spoke up Huang Fulong, not bad. If we could recruit even more people in the future, that'd be great. If we could become strong enough, then we could also have our own territory in Champion University. Tianqi smiled. Everybody was happy to recreate Tiantai. Indeed, we're a small army now. In the future, we can also find some things to do in the Edict Palace, and do them together. It'd be easier to accomplish, said Qinwu. There were many factions in Champion University, and in the Edict Palace, there was always something to do in the news, just like the Demon Pond thing. Lin Feng had gone alone, but with friends, it might have been much easier. Lin Feng had been able to escape that time because he had precious treasures. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to take the flood dragon away. Chapter 1765. Establishing Tiantai. Lin Feng, said a voice at that moment. It was extremely loud. Two people appeared in the sky, Yin Qingyan, and a young man in a golden robe. Yang Chuge wasn't there at that moment. He was a member of the Sun Holy clan. He didn't want to meet Lin Feng. Lin Feng was surprised. He looked up at her and asked, "What do you want?" "I need to talk to you about something important, of course," Yin Qingyan said, looking serious for a moment. But then she smiled and said, "Look, you are all really strong, you're all potential champions. But I'm in list above, in the higher ranking list. I'm stronger than you guys." Higher ranking list? Lin Feng looked at her in a strange way and smiled. No wonder he had remembered her name. She was in the higher ranking list. "So what?" smiled Lin Feng. Yin Qingyan's eyes twinkled. She smiled back at Lin Feng and said, "You said you wanted to create a new group. You should join mine, the Yin Club." "Why would I join the Yin Club?" asked Lin Feng. "I'm in the higher ranking list, I'm stronger. You should join my club, that's logical." Yin Qingyan frowned. Lin Feng and the others looked amused. She didn't look like a strong cultivator. "But we're going to create a group called Tiantai. We can't join the Yin Club," said Tianqi. "Otherwise, you could also join Tiantai?" Yin Qingyan's eyes twinkled. She smiled and said, "I can also join Tiantai. But shouldn't the leader of the group be the strongest cultivator?" "Tiantai doesn't have a leader. Every member is treated equally," said Lin Feng, shaking his head. "The leaders of Tiantai would remain the same forever." Ho Qinglin and Tianqi perfectly understood what Lin Feng meant. Tiantai's leaders would always be their two teachers. How could that work? A group needs a leader, otherwise who would lead? Asked Yin Qingyan. She didn't understand. In Tiantai, we're all like brothers and sisters. There's no leader, nobody gives orders. That way, if someone harbors evil intentions, we can avoid trouble, Lin Feng said solemnly. Everybody around him understood. Since Lin Feng was going to recreate Tiantai in Champion University, Tiantai had to become strong. If people didn't agree with them, they didn't have to join them. Lin Feng wanted to find the other core members of Tiantai first, the direct disciples. When they were together, they were stronger. Yin looked at Lin Feng strangely. He looked grave and solemn. What was wrong with him? Harbor evil intentions? Strange. Do you want to join Tiantai? Asked Lin Feng, smiling at Yin Qingyan. Yin Qingyan groaned proudly and said, Are you trying to scare me? I can join Tiantai, but if I'm not your leader, at least, I should be your higher female fellow disciple, like a big sister. If you want to join Tiantai, no problem, you're welcome. If you want to leave, we won't try to hold you, but if you betray Tiantai, or bully your brothers, then you'll be punished, Lin Feng said in a formal manner. He looked at Qin Wu and Tantai and said, Tantai, Qin Wu, the same applies to you. If you want to join Tiantai, we'll be like brothers, but if you betray Tiantai, I won't be merciful. I understand. We're on the same wavelength. Don't worry. If I join your group, it's because I trust you and I'd love to cooperate with you. Qin Wu nodded. He understood Lin Feng. Sometimes it was better to discuss things before doing anything. All right, we're like brothers and sisters, we'll work together now, said Lin Feng, stretching his hand. Then Huang Fulong, Ho Qinglin, Tianqi, and Tantai put their hands on Lin Feng's hand. And your big sister, laughed Yin Qingyan. She walked forwards and put her hand on the other's hands. Then they all raised their hands up. However, the guy behind her didn't look interested and merely said, Qingyan, I'm off, before turning and leaving. Yin Qingyan smiled and said, We need to grow bigger. I'll do my best to make the group grow and become strong. People in Champion University will realize how strong we are. That way more people will join us or fear us. Right indeed. Even though we're not very strong yet, some of us are already in the top 10. We'll rise up in the list, and be in the higher ranking list like you. But for new students, it's not bad. The problem is that some people who are not ranked can't go to the Edict Palace or to Champion Hall, so they don't have powerful skills, techniques and spells, said Qin Wu. Of course, if we manage to become accredited, people will respect us even more. Accredited? Lin Feng looked at Qin Wu. He had never heard of that. Indeed. You still don't know. At Champion University, the strongest groups, including Ji Chang's club, have been accredited. For example, Ji Chang of Ji Chang's club is close to some managers. Some clubs' founders' teachers are also managers of the university. They can all go to the Celestial Mountain. Many people want to join them, explained Qin Wu. Yun Qingyan smiled and told them, "Don't worry about that. With me it'll be fine." With you? Lin Feng looked at Yun Qingyan curiously. "I'm your big sister now. I need to take care of you. I know some elders at university. If you stand out, I can introduce you to them. Then we might become their disciples too. That way, extremely strong cultivators will join Tiantai." Yun Qingyan told them with a smile. Lin Feng was surprised. This girl knew some elders? And he was also surprised because he had heard that only champions could go to the Celestial Mountains. Even though Tiantai will recruit people, the most important thing is still fraternity. If someone tries to control others, they can be as strong as they wish. We won't accept them, said Lin Feng. He looked at Yun Qingyan and said, "Yun Qingyan, you and Qin Wu can take care of the marketing part. We don't know the university that well yet." "Don't worry, leave it to me." Yun Qingyan nodded. She looked at Qin Wu and said, "Qin Wu, come with your big sister." Qin Wu was skeptical. This girl was young. Why did she like being called big sister? Lin Feng smiled wryly and said to Ho Qing Lin and Tian Qi, "Brothers, have you seen Mu Chen since we left?" Ho Qing Lin suddenly looked worried and shook his head. "He can transform. He protected us and helped us escape. I don't know, maybe that he went to the 9 great celestial castles. In the last few years, Tian Qi and I stayed together all the time. We only encountered you here in the Holy City. The great world is quite vast. In the past we had heard of the Holy City, so I thought that everybody would come here. After coming to the great world, Ban Ruo, Li Hen, Xingzhan, and some others were controlled by the Celestial Qi Castle, but I saved them and found a safe place for them. I don't know how they are now. We can go and check if they're still there someday," Lin Feng sighed. Ho Qing Lin looked surprised. The Celestial Qi Castle had controlled Ban Ruo and the others? Luckily they were fine now. Someday, we'll go back to the 9 great celestial castles and destroy them. Ho Qing Lin swore. Maybe they still control the small world. Sooner or later, Lin Feng nodded. Maybe not all 9 great celestial castles, but at least the Celestial Qi Castle, the palace of the celestial kings of medicine, and those kind of groups. Even though Tiantai is coming back to life, we must continue becoming stronger. We're very weak, and we offended the star group. I want to practice cultivation for a while, Lin Feng told them. He was worried. He wanted to become strong as soon as possible. Tiantai needed a solid foundation. If they weren't strong, then Tiantai would fall again. You're right. Ji Wuyo is really strong, agreed Tiantai. Lin Feng didn't know who that was. Ji Wuyo. Lin Feng remembered that name. That was the first student. Ji Wuyo, Ji Chang's younger brother, Tiantai nodded. I see. Lin Feng nodded. Ji Chang's younger brother. So Lin Feng really needed to become stronger. Ji Wuyo wasn't going to let him off. Chapter 1766. Qing Feng's arrival. Because of the battle, everyone had now heard of Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin and Tian Qi, especially among the low-level emperors. Of course, in order to draw medium-level emperor and high-level emperor's attention, it was still a bit early. After all, they had to do things slowly but surely. They needed to draw the attention of people of the same level, including new extremely strong cultivators. Many people knew about Lin Feng's past in the vast celestial ancient city, and they also knew that he had been abandoned by the gods, that he could control 7 sorts of cosmic energies, and that he was extremely strong. People were stupefied because he had managed to fight against Ji Wuyo. Lin Feng wasn't weak at all, and now they had created Tiantai at Champion University. Surprisingly, Lin Feng had created a new group, and even Yun Qingyan had joined them. She was busy carrying out marketing activities all around the university. She was famous for being strong and beautiful. Surprisingly, she also managed to recruit some people. Lin Feng was rather astonished. But Lin Feng didn't spend too much time with those things. He was practicing cultivation very hard too. Sometimes Ho Qing Lin and Tian Qi found him in Champion Hall. Time passed slowly. New students joined the university. The next time 5 students joined Champion University. Among those people Lin Feng knew 3. He would have recognized them if he had been there. Qing Feng, Swan and Wu. They were all extraordinary. Qing Feng was extremely strong, and Wu was a sun supernatural bird. Swan was also very powerful, as he was a legendary beast. In a secret room, Tantai was seated cross-legged. Energies rolled in waves about the room. It felt as if the room were going to explode. Tantai was tall and strong, so his energies looked even scarier around him. His veins were moving as his blood and energies flew through them. He looked as wild and mighty as a lion. Tantai was rude and simple, but he was strong and talented. He also needed to learn some good skills, because he had explosive power. He needed skills which corresponded to his personality. In the 3 other universities, the atmosphere was also lively. Ying Cheng was at the Celestial Godly University practicing cultivation. Many people joined the Celestial Godly University. Among them, someone drew other people's attention. Duga the winner, who had the Godly Imprint King body, and 3,600 godly imprints. He was also extremely strong. Apart from people who had special bodies, there were also some people from the Snow Clan. All the men and women from the Snow Clan were good-looking and strong, so people loved them. In the ancient university, Chu Chunqiu drew people's attention. He was a medium-level emperor. They had heard about his adventures in the vast celestial ancient city. In less than a year, he had leveled up to become a medium-level emperor from the Zunqi layer. His cultivation speed was incredible, really terrifying. People remembered the insane cultivators of the Chu clan from the past. Would he practice that much though? At the Four Seasons University, the competition was incredible too. For example, there was Lang Yi, who had a World King body. He was very strong. As a new student, people were shocked. It had been a long time since they had seen such a strong new student. In all the universities, everybody was practicing cultivation hard and trying to become stronger. They knew that they had no choice but to become stronger to get rid of their rivals, who were of the same level as them. Lin Feng also practiced cultivation hard. He knew that the cultivation world was cruel. He had to be determined and fight. He was practicing cultivation in his own world. His eyes black as the night and demon energies were rolling in waves while Devamara Kulpa strength surrounded his body. His whole body was pitch black. The strength around his body also contained some dragon chi. His dragon blood was boiling, and he could hear a dragon chant. His flood dragon was powerful and aggressive. He had completely fused together with its blood. At the same time, Lin Feng was raising the baby dragon in his body, which kept growing along with Lin Feng. Lin Feng opened his eyes. At the same time, he released his godly awareness and extended it into his celestial evolution chessboard. In the celestial evolution chessboard, he started making energies evolve. The deployment spell was gigantic. Even though Lin Feng needed time to understand the item better, it was an ancient item and very precious. It was a really good item for Lin Feng, amazingly useful. It allowed him to become stronger and to do many other things. Time passed slowly, months rolling by. Finally, Lin Feng came out of his secret room and heard some voices outside. When Lin Feng came out, he saw a group of people. Yun Qing Yan was in front of the group and talking animatedly. Yun Qing Yan, what are you doing? Asked Lin Feng, rolling his eyes. Lin Feng, finally you came out. Come and see. I recruited those people, they are now members of Tiantai. I'm going to go and travel with them to become stronger. Yun Qing Yan said, smiling proudly. Lin Feng frowned and looked at Yun Qing Yan. Didn't I tell you that you couldn't recruit people just like that? Those people frowned. They looked too proud, as if it was an honor for Tiantai to have such people as them. What was Yun Qing Yan doing? Don't worry. We are core disciples. For now, the people I recruit can be external disciples. If they are strong enough, they'll become core disciples too, smiled Yun Qingyan. Lin Feng, I'm your big sister. I'm trying to help. It wasn't easy to find people. Lin Feng sighed. As you wish. But if someone wants to become a core disciple, we all have to agree like a big family. Alright, I promise. You're Lin Feng. I've heard that Ji Wuyo and you fought. I want to try and fight against you. We'll see why you created Tiantai, interjected one of the people. Lin Feng looked at that person, and then at the crowd. He pointed at one of them and said, First, try and fight against him. If you can defeat him, then you'll fight against me. Everybody looked at the person Lin Feng was pointing at. He looked obstinate and unruly, and was wearing a king helmet. He looked strong and aggressive. That young man looked at Lin Feng furiously, but said nothing. He rose up in the air and said to that person, Come here and fight. How arrogant, said the other one angrily. He rose up in the air too, and waves of energies rolled in the air, rapidly churning it. However, at that moment, the man with the king helmet suddenly moved as fast as lightning, turning into a golden light beam. He used a physical sun punch. His attack was terrifying. 9 dark waves. The other one called out furiously. In a flash, 9 waves appeared in the sky and rolled towards the helmet wearer. The punch and the waves collided. The sun became bigger and bigger, and the waves evaporated. The helmet wearer's physical body was extremely strong. Boom boom. An explosion spread in the air, and the challenger was blown away. His arm felt extremely sore, and was even burning. His face turned deathly pale. What a powerful physical strength and fire. His fire is even more terrifying than fire cosmic energy, thought the watchers looking at the helmeted man. His eyes looked like suns. They couldn't even look him in the eyes. You're a beast, a sunbird. The challenger was staring at the young man with the helmet. Sun supernatural bird, said the young man with the helmet aloofly. The crowd around was surprised. A bird had joined the university. Why had he joined Tiantai though? Not bad, Lin Feng, you see? I even recruited a sun supernatural bird, said Yin Qingyan with a smile. However, 2 people came out of the crowd, Qing Feng and Swan. Lin Feng had told them back then to come to Champion University. Then they had heard about Lin Feng's adventures, and about the fact that he had created Tiantai. Everything was going well for him. Thus, they had decided to join Yin Qingyan's army. I see you're doing well. Surprisingly, you created a group, said Qing Feng, smiling at Lin Feng. Like in the vast celestial ancient city, Lin Feng continued inspiring people. Everybody knew him already. I hope that you'll become stronger quickly. We're supposed to fight soon, said Wu, staring at Lin Feng. Don't worry, you won't surpass me, Lin Feng replied to Wu. Even though he had an incredible godly awareness and was very strong, he couldn't surpass Lin Feng, who had already defeated him. When Yin Qingyan heard them talk, her beautiful eyes twinkled. She looked a little bit angry too. That guy dared attack Lin Feng. Chapter 1767. In the Celestial Mountains, Lin Feng looked at the people Yin Qingyan had recruited and said indifferently, Since Yin Qingyan said you were external members, I agree. Of course, if you didn't join Tiantai because you really want to, you can leave. No problems from us. They didn't need many people in Tiantai. They needed strong people who had a sense of belonging. Otherwise, even if they were strong, having them was useless. Especially people like you, said Lin Feng, pointing at the young man who had just lost. People in the crowd started talking. Many of them turned around and left. Nah, I just came to see what was going on, said someone, as dozens of people left. In a few seconds, only a few people were left. Yin Qingyan rolled her eyes. She looked at Lin Feng in a strange way. Many people had joined Champion University recently. It had been difficult for her to find recruits. Back then, she had founded the Yun Club, and hadn't managed to find that many people. And Lin Feng had made so many people leave after 2 sentences. Lin Feng shrugged and said, Such people are useless in Tiantai. You're annoying, the more the merrier, said Yin Qingyan. Then she said to the others, You can go back. If I need you, I'll contact you. All right. The few people glanced at Lin Feng. They had joined Tiantai because they wanted to become champions. And they also wanted to go and travel with fellow students. "Let's go," said Lin Feng, smiling at Qing Feng and the others as he finally left the courtyard. They walked slowly. Lin Feng realized with surprise that many people were around. He had never seen so many people in Champion University. "How come there are so many people?" whispered Lin Feng. Qing Feng smiled indifferently. "You've been practicing for too long. I joined Champion University a while ago, so I know they'll be having the university's celebration ceremony soon. So everyone who was traveling came back. I've heard that some elders will show up during the event. I don't know the details though." "What kind of ceremony?" Lin Feng pressed. She had been a student for a while. She knew more things than he did. "I can tell you the ceremony takes place every 10 years. The champion will also change. Champions don't spend much time at university. They travel a lot. During the event, champions come back. It's also about seeing if some people want to change positions. And it's also to welcome students who have joined the university in the previous 10 years. It's also to see if other students have become stronger. It's an interesting event, very beneficial. Only champions can go to the Celestial Mountain. But during the event, elders show up. So it's the best moment to stand out and draw their attention," Yun Qingyan told him with a superior smile. "Lin Feng," someone in the distance called out. Lin Feng gazed that way and saw someone smile strangely. "That's the Lin Feng who fought against Ji Wuyo," said the person next to that speaker. "Those two people were very strong, medium-level emperors. Indeed. He's funny. After passing the exam, there were some tensions between him and Yu Wenjing. He also killed Shang Jun's brother, so he's very strong. Now he's the third student, unfortunately." The two people passed next to Lin Feng and continued talking about him. "Indeed, what a pity. The ceremony is going to start, and Shang Jun is going to come back too. Soon Shang Jun will kill him. Even if Shang Jun doesn't kill him, Ji Wuyo and Yu Wenjing won't let him off." The others walked away. Lin Feng frowned. He had killed Shang Yu during the exam. And now those people were talking about Shang Jun. He was in the higher-ranking list. "You offended many people," Qing Feng observed. "The situation is really complex in the Holy City. You fight against someone, and many people get involved. You can never have a rest here," said Lin Feng. He was speechless. Shang Yu, Yu Wenjing, Ji Chang, they were all like that. If he defeated them, then Ji Chang would be there too. Of course, especially at university. And there are many young people who belong to rich families. Those rich families send all their kids to the same university. So their older brothers and sisters are here too. And they don't let anyone touch their siblings," said Qing Feng with a nod. Lin Feng was strong and talented, so he had to fight against strong people too. "I understand." Qing Feng was right. Unless he stood aloof from worldly strife and refrained from having a social life, then he had to have enemies. It was the same for everyone, even rich kids. Those holy clans' geniuses also fought against each other. Even in the vast celestial ancient city. "Lin Feng, where do you want to go?" Yin Qingyan asked Lin Feng. "Nowhere. I've been in a tiny room for a while. I need to have a walk," replied Lin Feng. "Awesome. I'll take you somewhere," smiled Yin Qingyan. Then she grabbed Lin Feng's sleeve and pulled him along. "Your big sister will help you become more educated." Lin Feng was used to hearing her speak that way. Both of them ran along very quickly. After a short time, Lin Feng realized that Yin Qingyan had taken him to the Celestial Mountain. There were clouds circling about it. The place looked like a magical palace out of a dream. "Where are we going?" asked Lin Feng, surprised. "The Celestial Mountain? Could they go there?" "I told you, I'll help you become more educated," said Yin Qingyan with a broad smile. She continued walking towards the Celestial Mountain. "I thought only champions could go there?" Lin Feng followed along curiously. "Whoever said that, they don't understand this place. There are more mountains behind it that I can't go to, but this one I can. I'll show you," she smiled, continuing along. After a short time, they arrived at the clouds. Lin Feng saw a big gate in front of him. There were two old men there, seated and playing chess. They looked captivated by the game. "Gentlemen," said Yin Qingyan, walking up to them. The two old men turned their heads and smiled. Qingyan, you brought someone? Didn't you know you can't bring anyone here? This is my friend. I want to take him home and show him around. Please don't tell me I can't, said Yun Qingyan. She continued walking, even grabbing one of the old men's sleeves and pulling it like a child. All right, little girl. Let us play and go, sighed the old man, smiling wryly and shaking his head. Thank you very much, said Yun Qingyan. She continued walking towards the gate. It seems like Yun Qingyan has a good social status, thought Lin Feng. Show him home. Was she from the university itself? Lin Feng and the others followed behind her. The old men continued playing chess. One of them said, Sunfire, obstinate and unruly bestial chi, Sun cosmic energy. That girl made friends with a three-legged golden crow. The other old man smiled, moved a piece and said, and a young legendary beast. She's mysterious, but the strongest one is the one at the front. There's something inside him. Even though his chi is strange, he is unfathomable. He looks like a murderer too. The two old men continued comparing the people who had been following her. In the mountain there were many palaces. Yun Qingyan took Lin Feng and the others to a beautiful palace. In the courtyard, there were two people practicing sword cultivation. Their swords had no chi at all. They were using no energy, but they looked strong. There were many sword marks on the ground. Lin Feng frowned when he saw them. That sword will was impressive. Those swords didn't even need strength or energy. They were a man and a woman, both middle-aged. The man looked elegant. The woman looked beautiful. They looked really good together. My baby came back, said the man and the woman, putting their swords down and looking at Yun Qingyan. Yes, I missed you. I brought some friends. I want to introduce them to you, smiled Yun Qingyan, hugging her parents. Lin Feng understood. Yun Qingyan was the daughter of some of the university's staff members. Those people looked like nice persons, however. Yun Qingyan's parents glanced at Lin Feng and the others sharply. Lin Feng shivered. These people seemed terrifyingly strong. Chapter 1768. Lesson Masters, said Lin Feng, bowing before Yun Qingyan's parents and smiling in greeting. You all seem as strong as my daughter. Not bad and rare, nodded Yun Qingyan's parents. Yun Qingyan wasn't happy, she said. What? I'm their big sister. Big sister? Are you still trying to lead the Yun Club or what? You should be practicing cultivation really hard. Why are you trying to manage a club? You're wasting your time. Yun Qingyan's mother scolded her. No, I joined Lin Feng's club Tiantai. I'm the big sister, pouted Yun Qingyan. All right. You're the big sister. So, what are you doing here? Asked Ms. Yun. Yun Qingyan's beautiful eyes twinkled, and she said proudly, Mom, I wanted to introduce my friends to you. Really? Asked Ms. Yun, looking at Yun Qingyan skeptically. Yun Qingyan laughed and said, They're very strong, you see. Lin Feng is incredibly talented. 3 months after Lin Feng joined the university, he was already ranked 3rd. He also fought against Ji Wuyo. Ji Wuyo didn't have the upper hand at all. The ceremony is going to start soon, so I was wondering if you could help a bit. I knew you wanted something, Ms. Yun sighed. She then looked at Lin Feng and said, He fought against Ji Wuyo shortly after having joined the university. Not bad indeed. However, the elders won't give him face. I can talk to the elders, but I can't guarantee it will work. As long as you help, that's the main thing, smiled Yun Qingyan. She looked at Lin Feng and said, Don't miss that opportunity. If you can go to the remote mountains, you think Tiantai will lack members? She challenged him. You're doing honest work, said Ms. Yin. Haha, and what about Jichang? He's the worst, said Yun Qingyan. If you were at least half as talented as Jichang, I would be happy. You should know that Jichang has the potential to become a champion. Many elders think highly of him. He'll become a champion soon. Grand talents mature slowly, as we say. He'll be a source of glory for the university. His group will be more powerful than yours, and he'll become extremely strong, said Ms. Yin. She didn't sound really happy. Yun Qingyan pouted cutely. Lin Feng smiled. Her parents were very strict, but not mean. Are you both sword cultivators? Lin Feng asked her parents. The father looked back at Lin Feng. Are you a sword cultivator too? Before controlling cosmic energies, sword cultivation was my specialty, Back then, I could condense several sorts of abstruse energies and use different sorts of sword techniques. My attacks weren't bad. Then, I understood cosmic energies and realized that making cosmic energies fuse together was difficult and time-consuming. Therefore, I had to stop practicing sword cultivation temporarily. Perhaps you could teach me something? Lin Feng tried to sound as humble as possible. There's something I find strange though. Qing Yin said that you were the third student, but you have the strength of the Zunqi layer. If you tell me you're hiding your cultivation level, I would be astonished. It would mean you're terrifyingly strong, stronger than me, Mr. Yin noted curiously. Back then, when the skies were supposed to cleanse my body with cosmic energies, they stopped, and the gods abandoned me. People said I was an imperial culpa, but I refused to believe that. Even though I wasn't cleansed by the cosmic energies of the earth and the sky, and can't borrow them directly, my body seems to have more cosmic energies than anyone else. I don't think I'm an imperial culpa, or that the gods have abandoned me. I think it has something to do with my body type, explained Lin Feng. As he became stronger, there were some things he couldn't hide, or people wouldn't take him seriously, and would even think he harbored evil intentions. How strange. Show me your cosmic energies, Mr. Yin told him. Lin Feng nodded and released all his cosmic energies, his qi surging around him. Mr. Yin and Ms. Yin frowned on seeing that he knew several sorts of cosmic energies. Are your reserves of cosmic energies sufficient when fighting? Asked Mr. Yin. I have more than enough, they never run dry. After battles, I also swallow some cosmic energies from the earth and the sky sometimes, said Lin Feng, skirting the whole truth. How strange. Such a body is really rare, said Mr. Yin. He didn't really understand what was going on. He continued. And what about your sword cultivation? Before you learned cosmic energies, could you condense abstruse energies? Yes, I fuse them together in my sword quite often, from 4 to 5 different sorts of abstruse energies. I could kill emperors that way. Lin Feng replied evenly. Talented, Mr. Yin nodded approvingly. You're talented. But as you said, cosmic energies and abstruse energies are different sorts of energies. That's the magic of our planet. If you want to make them fuse together, it's not easy. You can't make cosmic energies fuse together like abstruse energies. However, if you can make cosmic energies fuse together in a sword attack, or any other sort of weapon, then your attacks would probably be terrifying. However, a sword attack with several sorts of cosmic energies is not easy to learn, mused Lin Feng. Of course, especially since the way you control one sort of cosmic energy isn't the same as the others. You understand too many sorts of cosmic energies, and therefore, you must make great efforts and improve the form and the content, especially if you want to study sword cultivation, Mr. Yun said slowly for Lin Feng to understand clearly. The form and the content, repeated Lin Feng looking pensive. Indeed, Mr. Yun nodded. Then, he pulled a hair off his head and gave it to Lin Feng. Try cutting it in as many pieces as you can using pure sword cosmic energies, and nothing else. Lin Feng was stupefied. He threw the hair in the air and watched it fall down. No skill nor technique, only pure energy? Lin Feng did a knife hand strike in the air, his hand as fast as lightning, cutting through the air. Without cosmic energy and without strength, can you cut it? Asked Mr. Yin. Lin Feng stretched his hand out again. He didn't use cosmic energies or strength. When he tried to cut the hair just flew away and wasn't cut. At that moment, Mr. Yin suddenly did a knife hand strike in the air. He didn't use any strength or energy. He just used his hand. A streak followed his hand, and the hair was cut in two. Form. A strange expression appeared on Lin Feng's face. By watching Mr. Yin, Lin Feng slowly understood. That was more about sword intent. So the form, cutting the hair into several pieces. Mrs. Yin didn't even release sword qi, but Lin Feng could feel the sword intent. That's the form, that's what you see. In other words, no cosmic energy. If you try to use a spell like that, it won't work. But sword cultivators are not only interested in spells. When you use spells, you compare your cosmic energies with your opponent. If I have a great spell, skill or technique and you don't stand a chance. If my cosmic energies are much weaker than yours, Then you can easily defeat me, explained Mr. Yin. Lin Feng started to understand. Strength was the form, cosmic energies was the cause. Of course, if you only care about the form and don't study spells, techniques, and skills, then your strength will be limited, and you will eventually stop progressing. That way, maybe you can cut the hair into 3 or 4 pieces, but in the end your power would still be limited. If your sword intent is high, your attacks also have to be powerful. Lin Feng listened carefully. Qing Feng and the others were amazed too. Sword cultivators were really strong. Mr. Yin was right. That's like my Purple Lake tank then. I can modify it and improve it because I improved the form. It means the form leveled up, but still, it hasn't become the higher form of intent, murmured Lin Feng. He bowed before Mr. Yun and said, "Thank you very much for your lesson, master." Mr. Yun waved and smiled. "You are a smart boy. I've told Qing Yan that sort of thing thousands of times, but she doesn't understand." "I see," said Lin Feng, carefully not looking at her. "All right, come to my sword pavilion. You won't find many sword things in Champion Hall," smiled Mr. Yin, and brought Lin Feng and the others to his celestial palace. Chapter 1769. Thoughts of Revenge. Yin Qing Yan's parents were sword cultivators. After they become really strong, they had decided that they wanted to stay at university. They became staff members and had a daughter, Yin Qing Yan. In their sword pavilion, they had many sword skills and techniques. It was incredible. They were obviously very wealthy. Lin Feng saw books everywhere, as well as talismans for everyone, and all sorts of books. Lin Feng could sense that those items were all extraordinary. "Lin Feng, these are the skills my wife and I studied. You can have a look. You guys can have a look too. Even though you're not sword cultivators, it could be interesting anyway," said Mr. Yin, smiling at the small crowd. He was being very generous to them. "Thank you very much, master," said Lin Feng. He was touched. It was the first time they met, and they were so nice. It was rare to encounter. "Don't be so polite. My daughter is a bad cultivator, but since she brought good cultivators, we can't blame her, and we're happy to help, especially young people," said Mr. Yin, smiling. "You can have a look. My wife and I don't want to disturb you," said Mr. Yin, before turning to Yin Qing Yan. "Come with me." Yin Qing Yan shivered and made a face before following after her father. Lin Feng walked around and looked at the books. There were many things: water, gold, heaven and earth, death, and wood sword techniques, all using different sorts of cosmic energies. In order to carry out the best attacks, one type of cosmic energy wasn't enough. The cultivator had to control several sorts of cosmic energies and be a sword cultivator, like Lin Feng. Sword Rule, Setting Sun Meteorite. Lin Feng looked at a book. The skill within required 4 types of cosmic energies and was very powerful. It had several steps. The first step consisted of using earth cosmic energy, which descended from the sky to oppress the foe. The second phase was about using fire cosmic energy to create a sun sword to blind and burn people. The third step was about using wind to make the sun plunge the sword from the sky as quickly as possible. And the fourth phase was about making it fall from the sky, like a deadly meteorite filled with death. The attack seemed perfect, and the phases were perfectly logical if combined. If all the phases were carried out properly, then the attack was deadly and could frighten anyone. The form of the attack had to be appropriate. Without the proper form, and thus the proper will, the sword phases could fail. Form was essential for the attack to succeed, and the cosmic energies had to be used properly too. What a powerful attack. However, the requirements are strict. Ordinary people can't carry out such a terrifying attack, thought Lin Feng. That sword rule was very difficult to study. First, the cultivator had to understand sword meaning, which was the higher version of will. He also had to understand the form, which was related to sword meaning. Then he had to understand 4 sorts of cosmic energies, which was extremely difficult. However, Lin Feng still remembered all that. If an attack was easy to learn, could it be efficient? Lin Feng continued walking around and looking at other attacks. Lin Feng was in a trance in that place, as if the outside world had nothing to do with him anymore. He loved getting lost in the corridors surrounded by books. Qing Feng and the others left. Lin Feng didn't even know when. A few days later, Lin Feng was lying on the floor. He was dreaming and studying in the dream. He was in Yangzhou City, in the Yunhai sect, at the top of a mountain. He looked like he was dancing, his hand kept moving, one sword attack after another. Around him, leaves kept being sliced apart. The form and the content, form and meaning, then strength. That's how I can carry out powerful attacks, muttering Lin Feng. He was moving almost automatically. The form determines the movement. The will determines the accuracy. The form determines the attack. The will allows me to move automatically, breathed Lin Feng. He started moving slower automatically. Finally, Lin Feng moved naturally in a free and unrestrained way. He started moving more gracefully, naturally, and started cutting the air. Intent. The form contains intent. That's how the attack works. Lin Feng moved his hands back, and everything disappeared. Lin Feng looked at his hands. There was no strength, no cosmic energy, but meaning was there. In the sword library, Yin Qingyin saw Lin Feng was lying down. She was surprised Lin Feng was sleeping. Lin Feng, said Yin Qingyin, shaking Lin Feng and poking him. He was startled and suddenly opened his eyes. When he was dreaming, it was easy to wake him up, but because he was in the library, it didn't matter. Nothing could happen to him there. You know how to enjoy life. Surprisingly, you were sleeping, said Yin Qingyin, trying to look angry. She was speechless. She looked at Lin Feng and said, "The ceremony of Champion University will start soon. We have to go." Lin Feng smiled and stood up. "Let's go." Yin Qingyin took Lin Feng outside of the palace. All the palaces looked incredibly lofty in that area. The cultivators of Champion University were terrifyingly strong. Apart from that place, there were also remote mountains. It was said that the remote mountains constituted a small world. The elders of Champion University were truly powerful cultivators. But students couldn't easily go there. Lin Feng and Yin Qingyin went back to the center of the campus. There were many people there now. The ceremony took place every 10 years. So many strong cultivators who had been out traveling had come back. Lin Feng noticed many extremely strong cultivators as he was walking. Medium-level emperors were very common. That's the place for shows there. Many people are there already. Yin Qingyin pointed to a distant place with several fields. Each field was designed for cultivators of different cultivation levels. The field for high-level emperors was smaller than the others. The fields for medium-level emperors and low-level emperors were gigantic. People who arrived first could sit wherever they wanted. Cultivators of all ages were present. Lin Feng, someone in the distance called out. Tantai and Huang Fulong were together and shouting for Lin Feng. Lin Feng. On the field of the medium-level emperors, a group of people glanced at Lin Feng and frowned, but they didn't stop walking. "Shang Jun is looking for him. He's finally here," said one of them in a low voice. "He can hide if he wishes. Shang Jun can't kill him within the university anyway. At least, if that guy doesn't show up too much, fewer people will humiliate him." Those people were talking about him. Some people looked at Lin Feng with compassion. He was from the vast celestial ancient city, and the gods had abandoned him. He was lucky that people from the animal clan had made friends with him. But the university wasn't the vast celestial ancient city. It was the holy city. Shang Jun and Lin Feng were both in Champion University. Lin Feng had killed Shang Jun's younger brother. So he wasn't going to let Lin Feng off. Even though Lin Feng heard them, he ignored them. He wasn't interested in them. He stayed with Tantai and the others. Tantai seemed like he had become even taller. He looked as strong as a tower. "You're still growing up," laughed Lin Feng. Tantai scratched his head and said, "That's because of the herbs. I have a special strength in my body which makes me grow taller. I hope I won't grow to the point that I'll scare people away." "You're already scary," said Yin Qingyin, sticking out her tongue. She looked tiny next to him. Tantai smiled shyly and said, "Lin Feng, you see how lively it is here? The ceremony takes place every 10 years. There are so many strong cultivators here. Unfortunately, I'm not the protagonist. I hope that next time, I'll be a champion and everybody will admire me." Sooner or later, Lin Feng slapped Tantai's shoulder. He asked Yin Qingyan, "Is the ceremony today?" "Tomorrow," answered Yun Qingyan, shaking her head. Let's go and have a rest then, said Lin Feng. As they left, Leng Xia and Puyang watched them coldly. He dared show up. Let's go and inform Shang Jun. Let's hope he'll be dead by the time the ceremony starts, spat Puyang. He was furious. Lin Feng had humiliated him badly on the battle stage, and he would never forget it. Chapter 1770, Threat. The ceremony, which took place every 10 years, was an extremely important event for Champion University. All the students came back for it. Even the teachers and the elders of the Celestial Mountains participated. In Champion University, even though many people were from famous families, there were also many people who came from remote places. When such people came to the holy city, they were usually very motivated and determined. For those people, the opportunity to meet the elders of the university was incredible, and they couldn't miss such a thing. If they stood out, the elders would notice them. Even for those children who came from rich families, the opportunity was great, as they were also happy to have the elders as teachers. They allowed many young people to become much stronger. It was said that the first of the champions was Ji Chang. He was terrifyingly strong. Many elders had been his teachers. There were all sorts of teachers at Champion University, and sometimes, university students amazed the whole world. Weaker students weren't pitiful here. They could still become stronger. Yun Qingyan had already made Lin Feng's residence turn into Tiantai's headquarters. At that moment, Tiantai's people were all there. The ceremony takes place every 10 years. There will be many strong cultivators. It's going to be awesome, said Huang Fulong. His eyes were twinkling. Seeing strong cultivators was always something great. You're like Tiantai. You'll soon be on stage too. Everybody will admire you. It'll be even more fun for you. Lin Feng smiled at Huang Fulong. Huang Fulong nodded. You're right. I definitely will. Otherwise life wouldn't be worth living. 10 years, Lin Feng. Maybe in 10 years we will be standing on that stage too. Tianqi wondered calmly. 10 years could be a long time, but it could also be a short time. After all, they were very young. In 10 years, they could do many things, but staying at the level of a low-level emperor was still possible. However, if their cultivation speed was incredible, they could also become medium-level emperors in 10 years. Anything was possible. 10 years is a long time. We must do our best, murmured Lin Feng. He took a few steps and said, Brothers, let's go. Indeed, 10 years is a long time. We must practice hard, Tianqi agreed. He sounded patient and wise. Maybe 10 years later, they would be even stronger. At the front of the battlefields, there were bleachers and flights of stairs. The crowd understood that the elders had prepared everything for the event. Many people were standing around the fields too. Some strong cultivators had chi around them, some didn't. Those people are champions. Only champions can stand in the bleachers. They rarely show up normally, they're usually away traveling. Most champions were high-level emperors. Even in the outside world, they would be considered extremely strong cultivators. That kind of cultivation level was rare. They only came back to university when they needed skills and such, or to read the news in the Edict Palace. On the sides of the fields, there were spaces for the new students. When they joined the university, they had different levels, and there were few high-level emperors. Most people were willing to go to university when they were still low-level emperors. Few high-level emperors took the university entrance exams. When Lin Feng and the others arrived, they saw an ocean of people. They were astonished. Those people were all geniuses. Even if they came from different backgrounds, at university they were all fellow students. I've been a student for 9 years, I can stay with you, said Yun Qingyan with a smile. Even though her parents worked at university, she had only passed the entrance exam 9 years before. Their group of people walked to the side of the fields. Many people noticed them. Lin Feng was famous at university because a battle between new students and members of the Ji Wuyo was very unusual. My parents will be there. When they come, they will tell the elders about you. Do your best, Yun Qingyan said, smiling at Lin Feng. Lin Feng appeared undisturbed. He's going to die, and he dares show up? A voice asked coldly. Lin Feng and the others turned around and saw Puyang and Leng Xia. Those people were all in the ranking list, and they had all been students for less than 10 years. What? A good-for-nothing dares act that arrogantly? Tantai asked mockingly, looking scornfully at Puyang and the others. Puyang and Tantai were furious and started shaking with anger. They glared at Lin Feng and Puyang said, Lin Feng, you're hiding your cultivation level, but you're still just a low-level emperor. You're so arrogant you think you can create a group? You overestimate yourself. We'll see what your group will become. Does it have anything to do with you? Lin Feng sneered, glancing at him. It doesn't. Even if you and your friends from Tiantai die, I don't care. I just wanted to warn you, said Puyang, smiling coldly, and glanced at Tiantai's people. He continued, haven't you noticed that someone from the first batch of people you recruited isn't here? Lin Feng frowned and looked around. He looked back at Puyang icily and said, Where's Qin Wu? Outside in the wild. If you want to go, I'll take you there, Puyang said with a cold smile. Bastard, you dared take him away. Yin Qingyan cursed furiously. Her expression had changed drastically. Yin Qingyan, even though you're in the higher list, you must understand the rules of the university. Here, you can only challenge people, you can't kidnap people. Regarding Qin Wu, he followed us willingly, and he's outside of the university, because the rules don't apply there. Lead the way, ordered Yin Qingyan icily. If you want to go, I'll bring him alone, said Puyang, pointing at Lin Feng. You can't, said Yin Qingyan, refusing. You're plotting against Lin Feng. It's an ambush. We have to go together. Then forget about it. When the ceremony starts, some people will never come back to university. Some people will simply never come back, said Puyang caustically. Ji Cheng's club is full of bastards, shouted Tantai furiously. He clenched his fists. It's a personal matter. It has nothing to do with Ji Cheng's club. Lin Feng said coldly, I'm coming. Lin Feng, don't go. Those people are evil. They want to kill you, said Yin Qingyan. Don't worry. I'll come back safely, said Lin Feng. Then he walked up to Puyang and said, Lead the way. Let's go, retorted Puyang coldly. His eyes were filled with murder. He led the way and the three people left. Behind them, a young man watched Lin Feng go sharply. Shang Jun, won't you deal with him personally? Asked Yuan Ho. Shang Yu was of the same level and died. He was incompetent. He died, but it's his fault, said Shang Jun. He looked emotionless. Yuan Ho was stupefied. That guy was strong, cruel, and emotionless. He didn't care about his younger brother. Why have I been chasing him then? Asked Yuan Ho. Shang Yu was my younger brother, even if he died. Only members of the Shang clan can kill him. And people who kill members of family have to die. So we still have to avenge his death, Shang Jun stated, as if it were a law. Don't worry. He won't come back alive, said Yuan Ho. His eyes were twinkling. Lin Feng was going to die. He wasn't going to be allowed to participate in the ceremony. Chapter 1771. Explosive attacks. Lin Feng was very quick. They were running towards the exit, towards the wilderness. Lin Feng, I'm surprised you are willing to die for Qin Wu? Puyang asked, slowing down and smiling as if he had been talking to a friend. He was happy. Lin Feng was going to die. I'm surprised as well. You're a university student. You're a member of Ji Cheng's club. You're in the top 10. And surprisingly, you're a bastard. It seems like you reached a dead end on the path of cultivation, replied Lin Feng coldly. His eyes were pitch black. Empty words. You're funny for someone who's going to die. Puyang retorted aggressively. He was terribly pissed off. For everything Lin Feng had done to him, he deserved to die 100 times. They couldn't kill him on the territory of the university, only outside it. But all in all, as long as Lin Feng died, that was fine. After leaving the city, Puyang took Lin Feng far away from the university. After all, they were doing something that was against the rules of the university. Nobody would see them in this remote place. They wanted to do a clean job that nobody would know about it. Even though Lin Feng was already the third student, he still wasn't a valuable asset for the university. Nobody would care if he died. Finally, Puyang and the others arrived in the middle of some mountains which reached the clouds. In the distance on a mountain, Qin Wu was seated. His chi was very weak, and his face was deathly pale. He looked furious. Qin Wu. Lin Feng's facial expression changed drastically. Qin Wu was surrounded by 3 guards. They were all students of Champion University, members of Ji Chang's club. They were very strong people who were ranked. With so many people surrounding him, he couldn't do anything. In the distance, at the top of another mountain, there was someone in black clothes. His eyes were closed as if all of that had nothing to do with him. Yuan Ho had invited him to come. His name was Feng Heisha, and he was a strong cultivator from the higher list. At that moment, Feng Heisha opened his eyes and looked at Lin Feng indifferently. He was a bit unhappy. 5 members of Ji Chang's club for a new student who was on the ranking list? Wasn't that enough? Why did he need to come? He was annoyed. But since Yuan Ho was willing to compensate him, he came anyway. Of course, if nobody had asked him to come, it would have been better. Qin Wu opened his eyes, finally looking scared. He said to Lin Feng, "I wouldn't have thought that Ji Chang's club would do such a thing. Lin Feng, you should not have come. They were waiting for you." "Ridiculous, it's the law of the jungle." Qin Wu, when Lin Feng had just become a student, you kept helping him, and you confronted Ji Chang's club, even though we've never offended you. We've always given you face. You don't know how to differentiate good from bad, and decided to make friends with Lin Feng. "Since it's that way, you can only blame yourself," shouted Priyang furiously. Lin Feng was furious. Ji Chang's club had kidnapped Qin Wu because he was friends with Lin Feng. "I'm here now. Will you let him go?" Lin Feng asked coldly. "Someone look at him," said Priyang coldly. The 2 others, as well as Priyang and Wuxia, surrounded Lin Feng. 4 people for a new student who is on the list of potential champions? I don't care. You can't use precious treasures, you have to use your strength, Feng Heisha said coldly to Priyang and the others. What were they doing? Especially Priyang and Wuxia. They were both in the top at university, and now they were 4 people around Lin Feng. Boom boom boom. A terrifying chi invaded the air and cosmic energies started whistling. Priyang condensed thunders, throwing them straight towards Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng remained motionless, as placid as water. He let the thunder cosmic energies bombard him. His physical body is even more powerful than before. Priyang pulled a long face. Using the cosmic energies of the earth and the sky to fight against Lin Feng was useless. He could only use cosmic energy spells to fight against him. Lin Feng's physical body was too strong. Lin Feng had been cleansed by the Devamara Kulpa strength a 5th time, and his physical strength had improved again. His physical body was now level 9 of the low Huang Qi layer. It meant that he could almost resist any level 9 cosmic energy. Let's attack him together and kill him, Priyang said coldly. Then he charged ahead, quickly releasing thunder energies, turning the air purple. At the same time, empty space energies also appeared. Wuxia also used his deadly imperial punch, which contained death energy. The others weren't any weaker. One of them released a gigantic golden hand, and the other used the 9 cauldrons celestial chi skill, the same skill as Qin Wu. The 4 cultivators released deadly energies at the same time. The air was distorted, and whistling sounds were cutting it. All the energies moved towards Lin Feng at full speed, and at the same time, Lin Feng was protecting himself with 2 heavy armors. He jumped and suddenly lights moved in every direction, containing empty space and earth cosmic energies. The field became completely flat. Trees, grass, and so on disappeared as Lin Feng continued moving. Bzz. Lin Feng moved like the wind to the right, and at the same time, he didn't forget to punch out and release his purple tank towards an enemy, preventing one from attacking, and continued running, while condensing more earth energy. Lights also continued moving in every direction. The air became dark. Lin Feng started the first phase of his setting sun meteorite. His sword contained infinite earth strength. Using the incredible physical strength of his arms, the attack descended from the sky at full speed. It was an extremely heavy sword, and it fell down onto that man's body. The golden hand and the heavy sword collided. The enemy had the impression he had just punched a gigantic mountain. Boom! After the first phase, it was as if heaven and earth had started collapsing. The pressure was terrifying. The cultivator's arm was jangling with pain, as if he had been paralyzed. Lin Feng's sword attack was too terrifying. He raised his head, but Lin Feng didn't wait. A sun sword appeared, dazzling to the eyes. He was staring at the sun. Lin Feng's speed was terrifying. He used wind and empty space energies to move faster. His sword descended from the sky at full speed and crashed onto that cultivator. Blood splashed all around. That cultivator's body had been bisected. He hadn't been able to resist Lin Feng's second sword phase and had died. After killing one person, Lin Feng suddenly turned around. In his left head, Devamara Rule's strength suddenly appeared and rolled out in waves, shredding everything. In prison, Lin Feng started running quickly. Suddenly, empty space and earth energies condensed to form a cage, and the three other enemies were immediately imprisoned. Deployment. The fighters were stunned. That was deployment spell strength. Boom! Lin Feng accelerated and ran towards the man, who used the 9 cauldrons celestial chi skill. He was just running with his fist raised, filled with destructive Devamara Culpa strength. That person's face turned deathly pale. Suddenly, lights emerged as he took out a precious item. However, Lin Feng's eyes were pitch black and he shouted, "Die!" His voice penetrated into the man's brain through his eyes. He started shaking as Lin Feng arrived in front of him. Lin Feng threw out a punch which pierced through the cage and violently crashed onto the other's face. And his head exploded. Cosmic energies dispersed and he collapsed, his ancient cauldron still in hand. Break! Puyang and Lung Xia violently bombarded the cage as they grimaced. In such a short time, Lin Feng had killed 2 people, and 2 of them were still imprisoned. They were at the same level as him, but they seemed so weak, even though they were also ranked. They were geniuses too. What was going on? Lin Feng then headed towards Lung Xia. Lung Xia was still bombarding the cage. Rumbling sounds spread out, and the cage finally broke open. He threw his deadly imperial punch instantly. Chasing wind sword. Lin Feng moved like the wind, and suddenly released even more wind energies. Wind meaning surrounded Lung Xia, as well as death sword energies. The deadly punch broke apart. Finally, some death wind whistled and Lung Xia retreated. He saw the death sword pass just next to his throat. He was dumbstruck and terrified, and then his head fell off his body. Boom boom. Puyang also attacked the cage in which he was. His face was deathly pale. He was furious and terrified. Lin Feng had killed 3 ranked people. Those 3 ranked people had died so quickly. They hadn't even been able to withstand a single attack, and had died instantly. Dazzling lights invaded the air. Puyang had no time to run to Feng Heisha. He took out a treasure and thunder energies rolled in the air. Lin Feng took out his Tianji sword, releasing it to float in the air. At the same time, a sun disk appeared in his hand. It was dazzling like the sun. "If you attack me, I'll kill Qin Wu," shouted Puyang, fleeing rapidly. His face was deathly pale. He didn't want to fight anymore. Chapter 1772. Transformation. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the one guard, who was still next to Qin Wu. He said, "You can go, I won't kill you. But if you touch him, I'll kill you." Then, Lin Feng released death energies through his eyes. That guard shivered and glanced at Feng Heisha. At that moment, Feng Heisha was watching Lin Feng. His eyes were twinkling. Lin Feng was so strong. He controlled several types of cosmic energies. His sword techniques and deployment spells were incredible. He had killed 3 ranked cultivators in the blink of an eye. To him, those 3 ranked people were pieces of trash. Lin Feng looked at Puyang again and said coldly, "You want to bring about your own destruction." Then Lin Feng threw his sun disk. Suddenly, a gigantic sun appeared and streaked across the sky like a shooting star. A beautiful fire trail appeared behind, streaking towards Puyang. Puyang pulled a long face. The weapon he had taken out was a thunder weapon. He threw it in the air, and it collided with the sun disk. Explosions spread out, and immediately after that, a furious sword charged at him like lightning, deadly energies preceding it. Puyang released empty space strength while golden lights surrounded the Tianji sword. Kacha! The Tianji sword spat out thunder energies, which slammed into Puyang's body and propelled him backwards. At the same time, The dazzling sun disk arrived again, blinding him. "Explode!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. Puyang gave a horrible shriek as the Tianji sword continued whistling and pierced through his head. "He's dead." The guard next to Qin Wu was dumbstruck. Lin Feng slowly turned around and asked coldly, "You're not leaving?" That guard grimaced, but he couldn't move away from Lin Feng's stare. He could see the source of the 9 netherworlds in Lin Feng's eyes. Gradually his will was corroded. Demonic will flew throughout his brain. The 9 netherworlds source bombarded his thoughts. He couldn't think clearly. Then he heard a demonic song, and he couldn't get away from it. Oh no! The guard was terrified. Lin Feng took out a long spear. Lin Feng hadn't even arrived in front of him. But the spear disappeared, and when it reappeared, it had pierced through his third eye. The spear contained illusion strength. And since his will had been corroded by the demonic energies, he hadn't been able to react. Lin Feng jumped and landed next to Qin Wu. He crouched and released life cosmic energy, healing Qin Wu. "Lin Feng, it seems like everybody underestimated you," said Qin Wu. "That guy was incredible. He controlled death and life cosmic energies. That was amazing." Feng Heisha stood up and headed towards Lin Feng. "You're quite strong. Unfortunately, you're going to die. I already promised someone you'd die, so I have to kill you." "What a pity," said Feng Heisha. His chi was monumental. "Lin Feng, that guy is from the higher list, that's Feng Heisha. He controls wind and demonic cosmic energies. He's very dangerous and enigmatic. Some people who were much stronger died against him. He's too dangerous. His rank is 60-something in the higher ranking list. You can't fight against him," Qin Wu told Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded. Champion University's medium-level emperors were terrifying indeed. That guy's rank was 60-something. Someone had planned everything to make sure that Lin Feng would die. "You are talented. I'll let you choose how to battle. We can use weapons or strength as you wish," Feng Heisha said calmly. There were strange pitch-black lights under his feet. What was that black thing? Was it black cosmic energy? In case it was, what was it used for? Feng Heisha was very self-confident. He was certain Lin Feng was going to die, as if he couldn't escape at all. "Do I have to teach people from the higher list that you can't use weapons against another student?" said Lin Feng mockingly. Lin Feng took Qin Wu away. He didn't want him to get even more injured. At that moment, Lin Feng had already put his Tianji sword and sun disk away. Even though he was convinced that he'd have the advantage using weapons, he needed to fight properly to become stronger. "Can you tell me who asked you to come here?" said Lin Feng to Feng Heisha too indifferently. "You're almost dead. Knowing it would be useless. You're slightly weaker than me. You can attack first," offered Feng Heisha. Lin Feng promptly started running towards him at full speed, condensing a sword in his hand. Feng Heisha could clearly sense how oppressive the energies were. Lightning started descending from the sky at full speed. Feng Heisha raised his head. He didn't have the impression that he was facing a sword. He had the impression it had started raining oppressive and heavy mountains. Form and determination. Feng Heisha frowned in surprise. Lin Feng was really a genius. He was a low-level emperor, but he understood form and determination like this. And his cosmic energy attacks were also powerful. But the difference between medium-level emperors and low-level emperors was important. Feng Heisha raised his hand, and a terrifying wind invaded the air as he condensed powerful wind energies. The 2 threads of energy collided. A light beam appeared, the air exploded. Lin Feng's silhouette shot up into the sky, leaving a trail of energy behind him. He was starting the second phase of his sword attack. The sun blazed blindingly in the sky. Feng Heisha groaned. A dark cosmic energy blotted out the sky. Feng Heisha in the middle. Sunlight couldn't pierce through it. The darkness surrounded Lin Feng. But Lin Feng was holding a sun sword in his hand. Wind cosmic energy surrounded him as he moved away. The second phase of his attack wasn't over. Wind energy surrounded his sword. Form and determination fused together. The energies twinkled. "Humph." Feng Heisha smiled coldly, and also condensed wind energies. His cosmic energies were more powerful than Lin Feng's, so he was faster at it. Then Feng Heisha suddenly disappeared. Boom! A terrifying strength appeared. moving like wind and thunder. Lin Feng suddenly moved extremely fast, a sonic boom following him. Feng Heisha was surprised again. He landed on the dark area, glanced around, and 3 of Lin Feng's clones appeared. Each Lin Feng had a terrifying qi. He couldn't see which one was true. External body transformation. Feng Heisha was astonished. These 3 Lin Fengs weren't identical. Dong. The 3 Lin Fengs jumped at the same time. Light beams appeared and intertwined. Feng Heisha sensed a strong qi rising. Those 3 clones had a real strength. They weren't pure illusion. Dong. Deployment spell strength surrounded his darkened territory. Feng Heisha was more and more amazed. His darkness cosmic energy was powerful enough to coat him in darkness. He didn't look like a cultivator anymore. He moved like the wind, wanting to hide in the darkness. However, the 3 Lin Feng's clones were closing on him. Earth and empty space energies emerged. A cage appeared and Feng Heisha reappeared. What a powerful deployment spell. Feng Heisha frowned. Lin Feng's clones had carved marks and created a cage. He hadn't noticed that Lin Feng had cloned himself when he was fighting against Puyang and the others. The 3 clones had created a powerful deployment spell, forming a cage in which Feng Heisha was imprisoned together with Lin Feng. That deployment spell is a cage. It's the first time I used for real. Since you're going to kill me, you don't have to worry. The 3 clones mocked Feng Heisha. However, Feng Heisha was probably going to die, not Lin Feng. Feng Heisha kept glancing around. He was starting to be worried. Dong. The 3 clones started casting another deployment spell, a destructive one this time. Feng Heisha grimaced. Lin Feng's deployment spells were too scary. The more time he gave to Lin Feng, the less chance he had to win the battle. He was feeling less and less confident. The dark shadow charged towards Lin Feng. A hand suddenly moved towards Lin Feng at full speed. But a purple tank intervened like an indestructible shield. At the same time, one of the other clones released death energy and jumped ahead. Lin Feng wanted to use the 4 energies destructive assassination. He wanted to kill him in one strike. The last clone condensed a heavy sword with earth energy inside. Feng Heisha sensed the pressure from all sides. The 3 Lin Fengs attacked at the same time. Feng Heisha had the sensation he was going insane. Chapter 1773. Ancestor Zhu Tian by the battling fields. Yin Qing Yin was with the others. She looked extremely worried. How can you be so relaxed? Asked Yin Qing Yin to Ho Qing Lin. And Tian Qi, those guys were Lin Feng's friend. He's a monster. He won't die that easily. I'm sure Lin Feng will come back. Tian Qi said lightly. They had survived in the small world and the great world. They had gone through far more terrible things. They were convinced nothing was going to happen to him. But some other people were worried. Yuan Ho looked unmoved. But on the inside he was a bit worried. He kept gazing into the distance. He thought, the ceremony is going to start. Feng Heisha and the others should come back now. Yuan Ho was convinced that Lin Feng couldn't escape. Feng Heisha was a medium-level emperor. The difference between Lin Feng and him was terrifying. Lin Feng was strong, but he was just in the normal ranking list, while Feng Heisha was in the higher ranking list at 60-something. They had also sent other strong cultivators, who were in the top 10 of the normal list. Lin Feng couldn't win against such a scary army. Now Feng Heisha was supposed to come back to the ceremony. 2 silhouettes appeared in the distance. Yuan Jing raised his head and saw Ji Wuyo and Yuan Jing. They were holding hands and looked like a perfect couple. Yuan Ho smiled when he saw them. Ji Wuyo and Yuan Jing were a perfect couple. They were attracted to one another. Yuan Ho was happy about that. The Ji clan had a potential future champion, Ji Chong. So they were happy. Many people admired them. They also admired Ji Wuyo. He had joined Champion University and had amazed everyone by becoming the first student. Many people said he was walking on the same path as his older brother, and he would amaze everyone. Ji Wuyo arrived at full speed and stopped in the air. He looked at Yuan Ho, and then at Tiantai's people. He asked coldly, "Where is Lin Feng?" "Humph. You set up a plot against him, and now you ask us?" spat Tiantai. Ji Wuyo frowned and demanded, "What do you mean?" "Ji Wuyo princess," Yuan Ho said at that moment. Ji Wuyo glanced at Tiantai and the others coldly. Then, he moved over to Yuan Ho and asked, "What's going on?" "Back then, Lin Feng humiliated us and killed Shangyu. So I sent Puyang and Lung Xia to get our revenge. Lin Feng won't participate in the ceremony," Yuan Ho told them. Ji Wuyo frowned and groaned at his words. Doing that against someone as small as Lin Feng? What for? He wasn't worth it. Forget about it. He's not important. If he dies, that's good. Otherwise it doesn't matter, said Yin Wenho indifferently. Tantai and the others looked furious. Yin Qingyan smiled sarcastically said, "Losers dare act that arrogantly, I don't know why. They have no sense of honor. They think they're men, but they're worthless," said Tantai mockingly. Even though Yuan Jing was strong, he had lost against Ho Qing Lin, but he continued being that arrogant. Yuan Jing frowned and sneered. "Tiantai, right? Remember, I will destroy you." "You dare say that," said Yun Qingyan. "Yun Qingyan, your parents are staff members here at Champion University. I respect you, but don't go too far. Your parents don't have the highest social status here. There are many people as powerful as them at university," Ji Wuyo threatened. Yun Qingyan pulled a long face. What a bastard, he dared talk about her parents. "You're just a student and you dare act that arrogantly. You think your brother is almighty? So what?" Ji Wuyo huffed. "Besides, my brother is my brother. I am me. I don't need to rely on him to be famous." "Umph." Yin Qingyan groaned coldly. At that moment the crowd was startled. In the distance, some people had arrived. The elders, dozens of elders. The crowd gazed into the distance and everybody started whispering. Only celestial emperors can be elders. They contribute a lot. They're also among the strongest people in their category. There are many hidden talents at university. Students are geniuses. The Holy City's strongest groups are neither aristocratic groups nor holy clans, but the universities. My parents are here," Yin Qingyan whispered. The elders landed next to the battlefields and sat down in the floating bleachers on the sides of the battlefields. "Masters." Many people greeted the elders politely. For many of them, it was the first time they had ever seen elders from the university. Usually those people didn't come out, and when they did, they were not recognizable. In the distance a cloud had appeared. People raised their heads in surprise. The ancient elders had shown up. Those people were monumentally strong, saint emperors. Even in holy clans, saint emperors were terrifying cultivators. However, saint emperors were very ambitious and never wanted to stop. 3 silhouettes appeared in the sky and descended from the sky. They sat on the main seats of the main bleachers. The ancient elders are not the same ones as 10 years ago. Champion University is terrifyingly powerful, thought a few people who had participated in the previous ceremony. That's Ancestor Zhu Tian. Surprisingly he's here, thought Yin Qingyan, looking at the old man in the middle. He had an imposing appearance. She had seen that ancient elder once before. Her parents had told her his name, Ancestor Zhu Tian. He used to be the director of Champion University. He was extremely strong and could destroy the sky with his celestial hands attacks. He had incredible powers. What if Lin Feng isn't coming back? The ancestors are incredible. If Lin Feng stood out, they would notice him, and his future would be amazing, thought Yin Qingyan. Her parents looked at her and nodded. If Lin Feng showed up, they'd be able to recommend him. Such opportunities were extremely rare, once every 10 years. At that moment, Ji Wuyo also looked at the ancient elders and said to Yuan Jing, "That's Ancestor Zhu Tian. Back then, I went to the Celestial Mountain with my brother and I saw him. He must remember me. I'll try to help you." But even if he doesn't want to recruit disciples, the 2 ancient elders next to him are also terrifyingly strong. "All right," Yuan Jing nodded. She looked excited. If an elder became her teacher, she would have the keys to becoming a terrifyingly strong cultivator. The ceremony is going to start, thought the crowd. The lists would maybe change, especially for the champions. Where are they? Thought Yuan Ho, frowning and gazing into the distance. Why did Feng Heisha need so much time to take care of such a weak cultivator as Lin Feng? He had sent Feng Heisha to deal with Lin Feng just in case. Puyang and Lung Xia were really strong. So in a team of 5, Lin Feng had to be dead already. At that moment, in the distance, two people arrived. Lin Feng was there. He looked confident and at ease, just as handsome as before. Yu Wenho frowned. He suddenly looked furious. How's that possible? How come he's alive? And with Qin Wu? Yu Wenho frowned. There was nobody behind Lin Feng and Qin Wu. Where were Feng Heisha, Puyang and Lungxia? Yu Wenho didn't understand. Where were they? Lin Feng. At that moment, Qing Feng had also noticed Lin Feng. She was very happy. Yin Qing Yen and the others looked overexcitedly. Lin Feng was back. He's alright, and he brought Qin Wu back. Yin Qing Yen was surprised. Lin Feng was safe and sound and Qin Wu was even with him. Chapter 1774. Will you fight or not? Lin Feng. Tantai and the others rose up into the air, grinning broadly. Lin Feng jumped over to them, Qin Wu following. Lin Feng glanced at Yu Wenho coldly and said, Ji Chang's club's star group consists in a bunch of stupid bastards worse than dogs. They're just shameless. The members of Ji Chang's club were furious when they heard Lin Feng. How arrogant. Nobody dared offend Ji Chang's club, but Lin Feng did, and he kept humiliating them all the time. Empty words, said Ji Wuyo, coldly glancing at Lin Feng. He was a member of Ji Chang's club star group. He also felt humiliated. The star group sent 5 people to kidnap my friend Qin Wu, and threatened to kill him unless I went there. Then they wanted to kill me. They're worse than cowards, little worthless dogs. You're a disgrace to the university, shouted Lin Feng aggressively. He didn't give Ji Chang's club any face at all. People around gradually turned to them. Qin Wu was injured, so the crowd believed that Ji Chang's club had done that to him. Ji Chang had founded Ji Chang's club, and was extremely strong. So in recent years they had become more and more arrogant. They dared do anything for power. Lin Feng had humiliated them so many times. Ji Chang's club wanting to get their revenge was absolutely possible. Few people dare humiliate Ji Chang's club, and now Lin Feng keeps humiliating them over and over again. They even sent 5 people to kill him, thought the crowd. They were wondering who the 5 cultivators were. After the ceremony, they'd go and see the ranking list. If those 5 people weren't on the ranking list anymore, it would mean that Lin Feng had killed them. Lin Feng was really strong, so it was possible. What they didn't know was that the cultivators Lin Feng had killed weren't only on the normal ranking list. He had also killed a cultivator who was on the higher ranking list. Only Yu Wenho knew that such a cultivator was there to deal with Lin Feng. What he didn't understand was, where was Feng Heisha? And why hadn't he tried to kill Lin Feng? Lin Feng! Shouted Ji Wuyo furiously. The air suddenly became calm. Ji Wuyo glared at Lin Feng with murder in his eyes and said coldly, Do you want to die? After the ceremony, Tiantai's people will fight against the members of the star group on the champion stage. And this time we'll sign a contract for a battle to death. Do you accept? Lin Feng shot back, looking proud and aggressive. Even though Tiantai only had 1 medium-level emperor, the low-level emperors they had were terrifyingly strong. Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin, Tianqi, Wu Qingfeng, Swan, Tantai and Huang Fulong. And now that Lin Feng had already killed 5 strong cultivators from the star group, maybe that they couldn't compete with them anymore. Ji Wuyo and Yu Wenjing could compete with them, but the rest couldn't. Indeed, a bunch of worthless bitches. They dare call themselves the best group of Champion University? They are the only ones who think that way. They think they are famous because Ji Chang is famous, but they're so pathetic. Tiantai, which has just been created, can already destroy the star group, Tantai declared aggressively. It was difficult for him to control himself. Yu Wenho and Ji Wuyo, the leaders of the star group, were furious. The star group had never been that humiliated before. However, Tiantai's low-level emperors were indeed terrifying, especially Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin, and Tianqi. They were in the top 10 of the university. Lin Feng glared at Yu Wenho. He didn't talk much, but he was the leader of the star group, and the other despicable cultivators of the group were close to him. Or in other words, they obeyed his orders. Lin Feng asked Yu Wenho scornfully, Yu Wenho, do you accept the challenge or not? Yu Wenho narrowed his eyes and looked back at Lin Feng coldly. Nobody had ever asked him if he would accept a challenge. Lin Feng was the first ever. "You're acting recklessly. I alone can destroy you guys," answered Ji Wuyo, arrogantly releasing energies. "How shameless," said Tantai. "You don't need to fight against so many people. As long as you fight, one of us is enough to destroy you, don't worry," said Lin Feng demeaningly. Their chi kept colliding in the air, creating a stifling pressure. At the top of the stairs, Ancestor Zhu Tian watched Lin Feng and Ji Wuyo. He whispered to the person next to him. "That must be Ji Wuyo, Ji Cheng's younger brother. I've heard that he was the first student in the lower list, right?" Ancestor Zhu Tian, "Indeed, that's Ji Wuyo. He's talented, definitely as talented as his brother. He's a rare genius," smiled the person next to him. Ancestor Zhu Tian nodded and said, "Do you know who that boy is? The one who's challenging him. And why does he only have the strength of the Zun Qi layer? Indeed, he's strange. He seems to be a Zun cultivator," remarked the two old men next to him. They looked surprised. Even if Lin Feng had practiced a technique to hide his cultivation level, it wouldn't have worked on them. Ancestor Zhu Tian. Mr. Yun spoke up at that moment. He smiled and said, "I know him. His name is Lin Feng. He's a friend of our daughter. He's extremely talented. He controls several sorts of cosmic energies and has a strange body. If you're interested, I can take him to the Celestial Mountain to introduce him to you." "I see." Ancestor Zhu Tian nodded. He understood what Mr. Yun meant. He was recommending Lin Feng. "Let's first see how the ceremony goes." After that, the elders stood up and walked to the battlefields. Everything calmed down. Lin Feng, Ji Wuyo, and the others stopped arguing. Everybody also landed on the ground and looked to the elders at the top of the bleachers. It's the ceremony of Champion University. It takes place every decade. For us old men, 10 years are nothing, but for Champion University, it's a long time, especially for young geniuses who progress very quickly. It's also a very important moment in their lives. Therefore, we want to see how strong you have become. Ancestor Zhu Tian looked at the crowd and said, "All right, we're just watching. The real protagonists are the students. Let's see how strong the geniuses of the lower ranking have become. Maybe that the lists will change today." When the crowd heard Ancestor Zhu Tian, they looked at the battlefields in the middle. There were 99 strong cultivators. One person was missing. The founder of Ji Cheng's club, the champion of the university, Ji Cheng. But nobody said anything. At Champion University, nobody could replace him. Ji Cheng's goal was to become the real champion of all schools. Champion University didn't get involved. "I'll go first," said a strong cultivator as he jumped out. He pointed at a strong cultivator and said, "Fang Yinshi, come and fight." Fang Yinshi is the 53rd cultivator of the highest list. The challenger's name is Qing Yang. He is the 62nd of the list. They are both extraordinary cultivators, thought the crowd. The highest list couldn't change as much as the lower lists, as new students weren't that strong. The highest list, which people also called the Celestial Champion ranking list, rarely changed. And now the challenger had challenged someone who was 9 positions higher than him in the list. He was very self-confident. The battle didn't disappoint the crowd. Most fighters of the Celestial Champion ranking list were high-level emperors. Their cosmic energies were terrifying. The earth and the sky changed each time they used cosmic energies. They also controlled their cosmic energies extremely well. The strong cultivators around the battlefield had to help to destroy the energies which spilled over. Soul. At that moment, Lin Feng looked at the two fighters. Their cultivation souls had already fused together with their human souls. They could leave their physical bodies and still be extremely strong, because their souls were closely connected to the strength of their godly awareness. It was very difficult to destroy their godly awareness. Finally, Qing Yang lost the battle. He didn't succeed in his challenge, but the battle was amazing. He wasn't sad though. He just wanted to become stronger, and he'd continue rising in the ranking list. After that, many people fought. They were all terrifying. Lin Feng was amazed. The students were all geniuses. The students who were in the Celestial Champion ranking list were the most powerful cultivators, the 100 strongest cultivators of Champion University. In the outside world, They could easily destroy ordinary high-level emperors. Lin Feng still had lots of work to do to become as strong as those people. What do you think? Asked Ancestor Zhu Tian to the old men on his side. He seemed excited. If they are strong, why not? But someone who could really become a champion is difficult to find, said one of the old men's side. Indeed, once every few hundreds of years you can find one. Unfortunately, back then, if Ling Tian hadn't died, he could have become a champion, just like Ji Chang. We would have had 2 champions before Ying Cheng became one. The other old man said indifferently. They also knew a few things about what had happened back then. Ling Tian, Ying Cheng, and Ji Chang were incredible cultivators of their generation. Chapter 1775. Display your strength. The battles for the Celestial Champion ranking list were over. There were only 100 cultivators in that list. If someone wanted to fight against people who were in the Celestial Champion ranking list, they could challenge them after the ceremony. Ancestor Zhu Tian, the 2 old men, and all the elders looked at the crowd. Ancestor Zhu Tian smiled and said, "No wonder those who are in the Celestial Champion ranking list are considered as heroes. You're all astonishingly strong. Someday you'll amaze the whole world." "Thank you very much, Ancestor," said all the cultivators of the Celestial Champion ranking list, bowing before Ancestor Zhu Tian. In the future, they wouldn't necessarily become as strong as Ancestor Zhu Tian. He was way too strong. Actually, such cultivators were already almost at the very top of cultivation. "When I see you, you remind me of myself when I was your age," Ancestor Zhu Tian beamed. Then, he looked at the new cultivators and gave them an encouraging smile. "You all became students in the last 10 years. You're all very motivated, and you're starting to progress in your dream, to become extremely strong cultivators. Today, I'd like to see how strong you are. I want to see how strong the new geniuses we have are. Of course, if the staff members have noticed someone abnormally strong, they can make some recommendations, and I'd be glad to see them display their strength. Young people like to push the limits," he continued warmly. Nobody would have thought the old man was a terrifying cultivator when seeing him. He seemed too nice. "Young people, if you are very strong, maybe that the ancestor will assign teachers to you," spoke up the old man next to Ancestor Zhu Tian cheerfully. The students were excited, as that was what they were all hoping for. "Come and display your strength. Those who want to try can rise up into the air and show us," Ancestor Zhu Tian told them. One person said, "Me," before rising up into the air and releasing several sorts of cosmic energies. The crowd frowned. 5 sorts of cosmic energies was impressive. Then he carried out an attack. Gigantic waves of energies gathered in the air. The wind was so strong that dust rose to the skies when he set it off. "Not bad. The students of my champion university are all heroes." Ancestor Zhu Tian nodded. 5 sorts of cosmic energies. That wasn't bad, and he could also use them to carry out attacks. Some people were immediately dispirited. They initially wanted to display their strength, but after that, they realized they weren't as strong as that guy, so they felt reluctantly. As expected, a second student rose up into the air. He was a sword cultivator, and knew 3 sorts of cosmic energies, which he could condense into his sword attacks. Surprisingly, cosmic meaning appeared, and made his sword attacks were terrifying. "Brilliant!" exclaimed Ancestor Zhu Tian, smiling and nodding his approval. At that moment, a few silhouettes rose up into the air. At the same time they released chi. One of them had several sorts of cosmic energies, another one controlled terrifying techniques, and the last had a special body. They were all extraordinary. The crowd on the ground gasped in amazement. Lin Feng sighed. Those people were indeed really strong. "I'll go and try too." Tantai smiled. Then, he rose up into the air. A lion roared. The earth and the sky started shaking violently, and a gigantic and terrifying lion appeared behind him. Energies rolled out in waves of power. Tantai looked like a brutal and bloodthirsty monster. Tantai has become really strong really quickly, thought Lin Feng. No wonder he was considered a really strong cultivator in his tribe. What an explosive power. How come I have the feeling that I've seen that guy somewhere? whispered an elder, looking at Tantai. The person next to him frowned, his eyes were twinkling. He looks like Ling Tian. Absolutely, he looks like Ling Tian, but his attacks aren't quite as powerful. Ling Tian used to use dragon elephant strength. His attacks were even more explosive. His punches could destroy heaven and earth, said the other elder. He remembered Ling Tian nostalgically. Surprisingly, he had fallen. Back then, at Champion University, Ji Chang wasn't nearly as famous as Ling Tian. The elders were wondering when they'd see a new Ling Tian at Champion University. Back then, all the students felt dispirited and weak next to Ling Tian. He was a real genius. Suddenly, next to Lin Feng, whistling sounds spread in the air. Energies rolled in waves. A terrifying sun illuminated the air. Then the crowd saw a sun's supernatural bird, a three-legged golden crow. Wu is so obstinate and unruly. He wants to compete against all those geniuses, thought Lin Feng, grinning as he watched Golden Crow. Behind Wu, Swan rose up into the air too. He turned into a legendary beast and roared loud enough to make the air shake. All the young people rose up into the air one after the other. They all wanted to show how strong they were. Ancestor Zhu Tian looked delighted and kept nodding, but he didn't say anything. It's going to be difficult to impress the ancestor, thought Lin Feng. Ancestor Zhu Tian was a mighty cultivator who had seen so many incredible geniuses in his life. Even though all these people were geniuses, not many could impress the ancestor. Master Ancestor, proclaimed Ji Wuyo, rising up into the air. He bowed before Ancestor Zhu Tian and said, I'd like to recommend someone. She's a direct descendant of the Yuan clan. She knows 4 types of cosmic energies and knows the 4 seasons sword technique. Soon, she'll know how to use form and determination attacks. I hope you can teach her some things. Then Ji Wuyo looked at Yuan Jing. Yuan Jing slowly rose up into the air as she released energies. They seethed, as if they could explode any time. She wanted to impress Ancestor Zhu Tian. You're quite talented. You and Wuyo can come to the Celestial Mountain when you have time. I can teach you a few things. Ji Wuyo knows where I live, said Ancestor Zhu Tian, nodding at Yuan Jing. Yuan Jing was quite talented. Of course, she didn't impress the old man. Ji Wuyo impressed him. He was very strong and talented, and his brother was Ji Chang. He was Ji Chang's younger brother, so the old man wanted to give Ji Chang face. Thank you very much, master, said Yuan Jing. She was delighted as she bowed before the old man. Being able to go to the old man's celestial mountain was an honor, a dream even. Even the students of the celestial champion ranking list didn't necessarily have the opportunity. Thank you very much, master. We'll come and visit you. You're like a father to us, Ji Wuyo answered. Then Yuan Jing and Ji Wuyo moved straight behind the ancestor. They seemed polite, but once they were behind him, they looked at the crowd disdainfully. Having an older brother is always useful, thought many people jealously. Everybody knew about Ji Chang. Many of the ancient elders wanted to have him as a student. Ji Wuyo's brother was Ji Chang, and on top of that, he was also talented and very strong. Because he was in a relationship with Yuan Jing, she could also benefit from that. However, there were some people who were much stronger than her, but who were not invited to go to Ancestor Zhu Tian's house. Of course, the crowd realized all this. Yun Qing Yin groaned coldly, disgusted at the sight. How come she was invited to go to Ancestor Zhu Tian's house? Lin Feng, come on, go and show your strength, said Yun Qing Yin, rolling her eyes. Why was that guy so discreet now? Lin Feng hesitated. Ancestor Zhu Tian and Ji Chang seemed to have cordial relations, and Lin Feng had many secrets. He didn't know Ancestor Zhu Tian. Therefore, he didn't know if he could possibly get close to the elder, and didn't know what to do. Masters, I also want to introduce someone, said Yun Qingyan's father, smiling at the 3 old men. Ancestors, the one I just told you about, the one who challenged Ji Wuyo. He's extremely talented. He has a special body and controls several sorts of cosmic energies. Yun Qingyan's father then looked at Lin Feng and nodded. Lin Feng rose up into the air. Lin Feng, show your cosmic energies, said Mr. Yin. Lin Feng released 10 of his cosmic energies. The crowd was astonished. He had a body which allowed him to understand 10 different sorts of energies. Having a body which allowed him to understand 10 different sorts of cosmic energies was one thing, but actually being able to control 10 different sorts of energies was another. Surprisingly, a Zune cultivator could control 10 sorts of cosmic energies. That was very strange. Ji Wuyo groaned coldly and said, "He just knows 10 sorts of cosmic energies, nothing exceptional." Ancestor, that's nothing exceptional. Chapter 1776. Calm and serene ancestor Zhu Tian looked at Lin Feng. He had a body which allowed him to understand 10 different sorts of abstruse energies, and did control them. So why did have the strength of the Zunqi layer? Ancestor Zhu Tian had never seen such a thing. "What's wrong with your cultivation?" asked Ancestor Zhu Tian to Lin Feng. "Master, when the cosmic energies of the sky and the earth were about to cleanse my body, suddenly they stopped. And some people said I was an imperial culpa. I was furious because I wanted to break through to the Huangqi layer. And in the end I managed to use 7 sorts of cosmic energies. After that, I also made 3 other abstruse energies turn into cosmic energies, and learned how to use 10 sorts of cosmic energies. However, as before, I can't break through to the Huangqi layer," said Lin Feng to Ancestor Zhu Tian calmly. He didn't dare say he had a restriction body. Imperial culpa, abandoned by the gods. Ancestor Zhu Tian was surprised. He could sense Lin Feng's cultivation level. He was really a Zune cultivator, but he controlled 10 sorts of cosmic energies. Such people exist? Thought the crowd. Ancestor, if he managed to break free from that malediction, his future would be incredible, said Mr. Yin, glancing at Lin Feng. What Lin Feng had said to Ancestor Zhu Tian was different from what he had told Mr. Yin the previous time. Even though he didn't know why, he still hoped that Ancestor Zhu Tian would become Lin Feng's teacher. That way, Lin Feng would become extremely strong. He has been abandoned by the gods. There's nothing you can teach him. He's just a weirdo, interrupted Ji Wuyo coldly. He looked at Ancestor Zhu Tian and said, "Ancestor, Yuan Jing only knows 4 types of cosmic energies, but she has potential. She's very talented. She's more talented than a weirdo who's been abandoned by the gods." Ancestor Zhu Tian was serene. He nodded and said, "You should practice cultivation harder. When you break through to the Huangqi layer, I'll help you maybe." When the crowd heard that, they were astonished. The old man didn't intend to help Lin Feng. In normal circumstances, the old man would have been overjoyed. He would have done his best to help Lin Feng. But because Ji Wuyo was there, he didn't want to be nice to Lin Feng. After all, Ji Wuyo was really talented. Lin Feng was just an imperial culpa. The decision was easy. "Ancestor," said Mr. Yin at that moment. "Lin Feng is an imperial culpa and understands 10 sorts of cosmic energies. If he breaks through to the Huangqi layer, with his talent, he'll become terrifyingly strong." "That's enough," said Ancestor Zhu Tian. He understood. "I get your point. That's why I said Lin Feng should practice cultivation really hard and break free from that malediction." "Thank you very much, Ancestor," Lin Feng replied, and bowed politely before descending from the sky. Mr. Yin was startled and glanced at Lin Feng. At that moment, Lin Feng nodded at him, so Mr. Yin stopped talking. Lin Feng wasn't offended. The crowd looked pensive, especially those who knew about Lin Feng's past. They hadn't thought that Lin Feng was such in a difficult situation. Ji Wuyo and Lin Feng were enemies, and if Ancestor Zhu Tian supported Lin Feng and Ji Wuyo, the situation looked bad for Lin Feng. Many people haven't displayed their strength yet. Why hide? If you're not determined, how can you progress in the world of cultivation? Said Ancestor Zhu Tian. Many people rose up into the air and showed how strong they were. Lin Feng looked at the geniuses, his heart as calm as a winter lake. The path of cultivation wasn't easy, even for those who had a special body. Life wasn't easy in general. Lin Feng. At that moment, Ho Qing Lin came over to Lin Feng. "Brother," said Lin Feng, raising his head and smiling. "Brother, why are you not going? Your reincarnation strength is incredible. You'll amaze everybody." Ho Qing Lin shook his head and said, "Lin Feng, What other people think is not important. We just need to be determined. I understand. Lin Feng nodded. He actually didn't care about what other people thought, including ancestor Zhu Tian. If he preferred Ji Wuyo, that was his choice. It had nothing to do with Lin Feng. As long as they were determined, everything was fine. The ceremony was going well, but Lin Feng didn't care anymore. He was absent-minded and didn't pay attention to the ceremony anymore. Lin Feng. At that moment, Ho Qinglin saw that Lin Feng was just standing there, as if the outside world had nothing to do with him. Lin Feng raised his head. Ho Qinglin was staring at him. The ceremony is over, said Ho Qinglin with a smile. Lin Feng glanced around and realized all the old men were gone, as well as Ji Wuyo and Yuan Jing. They had seen how strong the students were. That was enough. Let's go back, said Lin Feng, and the friends left. However, at that moment, Lin Feng sensed some energies. He frowned and gazed into the distance. He noticed Yuan Ho and the others. Next to Yuan Ho, there was a strong cultivator. His facial expression were ice-cold, emotionless. Medium-level emperor? Lin Feng was surprised. That guy was extremely strong. He was stronger than Yuan Ho. Lin Feng guessed his identity. Shang Jun, Shang Yu's older brother. Yuan Ho, you told me he was dead already? Said Shang Jun, staring unhappily at Lin Feng. Yuan Ho frowned, but didn't reply. Shang Jun looked at Lin Feng and said, Shang Yu was weak and immature, but his murderer must die too. Then, he rolled up his sleeves and walked forwards. Yuan Ho was fixedly staring at Lin Feng and groaned aloud. He turned around and left too. Lin Feng shouted out, looking at Yuan Ho's back. Don't forget what I said. We Tiantai challenged the star group, everyone. Yuan Ho shivered with rage, but he continued walking, his expression furious. Chapter 1777. Ancient Holy Clan's grave in the remote celestial mountains of Champion University. Cosmic energies rose to the skies. There was an ancient path there, and on the path there were statues. Those statues were emperors and they contained intent. Ji Wuyo was walking along the path. Each time he made a step, a terrifying will surrounded him, and turned into a silhouette containing a terrifying strength attacking him. Boom! Explosions sounded and Ji Wuyo was thrown back, outside of the path. He looked furious. I can only make a few steps. Half a year, and I can only make a few steps, thought Ji Wuyo, releasing waves of powerful qi. A cyan dragon totem appeared and roared violently. However, the statues instantly prevented him from moving. Behind him, Yuan Jing spoke up gently. Wuyo, 10 steps is quite good already. I can only make 5. The ancestor says that your older brother could do only 20 when he was a low-level emperor. If you continue, you'll soon be able to make 15 steps. No, I need to be much stronger than my brother, otherwise, everybody will make fun of me, replied Ji Wuyo, shaking his head. He turned around and looked at Yuan Jing tenderly. He caressed her cheeks and smiled. Your boyfriend must become the strongest cultivator in the world. I must become even stronger than my brother Ji Chong. I have faith in you. I need to continue practicing my 4 seasons skills. Yuan Jing smiled. During these 6 months, ancestor Zhu Tian had been taking care of them. They were practicing cultivation in perfect conditions with ancestor Zhu Tian. They had progressed a lot during those 6 months. Ji Wuyo was only 1 step away from becoming a medium-level emperor. After becoming a medium-level emperor, he intended to try and get onto the higher ranking list. Of course, Yuan Jing understood that ancestor Zhu Tian had agreed to become their teacher because they were talented, of course, but mainly because of Ji Chong. Ji Wuyo also understood that. Therefore, Ji Wuyo wanted to become stronger than Ji Chong to prove that people thought highly of him for who he was. However, in Champion University, every genius was in the same situation. Everybody only thought of Ji Chong. Each time someone was becoming extremely strong, they wanted to become as strong as Ji Chong. However, it didn't work. Each time, they ended up being weaker than him and they felt oppressed. Even Ji Chong felt the same. He was extremely strong, but he was also under pressure because of Ing Chung. During those 6 months, Tiantai had become much more lively. Yin Qingyan had been working really hard for Tiantai. She was very enthusiastic and loved Tiantai. At the same time, Ho Qinglin had been traveling a lot to become stronger. He always took people with him. People admired him. He was determined and persistent. The process was the same. He went to the Edict Palace, learned about current affairs, and went to those places where there were things to do. He took risks to become stronger. And they always shared treasures equally. Nobody was privileged in Tiantai. Tiantai was becoming more and more famous among the low-level emperors. Even some medium-level emperors thought highly of Tiantai. The star group was becoming less and less popular. Nobody liked them, as they kept bullying people. If Ji Wuyo hadn't been there, the situation would have been even sadder for Ji Chang's club. At that moment, Lin Feng was in a courtyard where Tiantai had their headquarters. Everybody was looking at Ho Qinglin in a strange way. Ho Qinglin, you're so cruel. In 6 months, we've only rested 2 days. Now we've rested for a day, and you want us to travel again. It's dangerous, protested Yin Qingyan. Ho Qinglin was a bit over the top. That's how cultivation works. If you stop practicing cultivation for a while, it's a step backward, said Ho Qinglin. He was firm. The Edict Palace was a perfect place to learn about dangerous places. They always had new things to discover thanks to it. You're cruel, but Lin Feng is totally strange. He hasn't come out for 6 months. He didn't even come with us once, complained Yin Qingyan. She was speechless. Since the ceremony, Lin Feng hadn't come out even once. He understood something then. When he comes out, he'll be extremely strong, Ho Qinglin said under his breath. Lin Feng was a hardcore cultivator. He never wasted time. He knew what he needed. He didn't hide for 6 months wasting time. He was practicing cultivation. I hope so, Yin Qingyan's eyes glinted. She remembered that ancestor Zhu Tian had refused to help him because he wanted to help Ji Wuyo. So she hoped that Lin Feng wasn't depressed. At that moment, a strong and scorching hot wind started blowing. Wu suddenly appeared in the courtyard. Wu, why do you always do that? Asked Yin Qingyan unhappily. We need to change the plan, Wu stated sharply. Ho Qinglin frowned. Even though Wu was unruly, he never talked nonsense. If he said that, he had a reason. Why? Asked Ho Qinglin. There is some news in the Edict Palace. In the vast celestial ancient city, the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave appeared. Wu relayed to them. Back then, in the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, only a palace had appeared. It was as if it had been placed there on purpose. However, nobody knew where the small world of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was. Back then, everybody had thought that it would appear someday. Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Everybody's eyes twinkled. All the holy clans of the vast celestial ancient city were interested in the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, especially since the palace had appeared. Many people had gone there. And now more things had been discovered. What does everybody think? Asked Ho Qinglin of the others. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave had appeared. It was an important event. Many strong cultivators were going to go there, including great emperors, so he was hesitant. If too many great emperors appeared there, the situation would get complicated. Let's go to the vast celestial ancient city, to the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. A voice spoke up at that moment. Lin Feng came out, wearing a clean white robe. Finally, this guy is out, thought Yin Qingyan when she saw him. He had been practicing for 6 months, but many things had happened in Tiantai during that time. For example, the star group provoked them less than before, because Ho Qinglin and the others were extremely strong. Otherwise, the situation would have been complicated for Tiantai. Lin Feng, you think we should go to the vast celestial ancient city? Ho Qinglin asked Lin Feng. Indeed, the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan probably planned everything before being destroyed. They left some buildings, and now a grave has appeared. It must have something to do with their legacy. It won't be easy there though, even for great emperors, said Lin Feng. Yen Di was the prince of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, and back then the everlasting Celestial Emperor and the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan were close. Now some vestiges had appeared in the vast celestial ancient city, so they had to go and see. I agree too. I want to go to the vast celestial ancient city too, said Tianqi. Let's go. Everybody eventually agreed to go. When are we leaving? Asked Yun Qingyan. Now. Even though we got the news from the Edict Palace, I'm sure many other people already know about it as well. Besides, the 3 other universities probably know about it. And they'll be leaving for the vast celestial ancient city as well. We have no time to lose, said Lin Feng. Let's go, said Ho Qing Lin, rising up into the air. As Lin Feng had expected, some people from Ji Cheng's club Star Group and the U Club were also together in the sky. A strong cultivator said, some vestiges of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan appeared in the vast celestial ancient city. Last time we missed that opportunity. This time, we must be there before everyone else. We could obtain some great things there. That's why I called the Star Group and the U Club. Those who are willing to go, come with me. Yuan Ho, you take care of the Star Group's people, said that person to Yuan Ho. Yuan Ho's eyes glittered and he said, what about Ji Wuyo and Yuan Jing? They're still in the Celestial Mountain practicing cultivation with Ancestor Zhu Tian. Should I inform them? Since they're with the Ancestor, no need. He's helping them. They'll progress much faster than us, said that cultivator. However, at that moment, 2 silhouettes appeared in the distance. Yuan Jing and Ji Wuyo. An ancient clan site? How could I miss that? Asked Ji Wuyo. Everybody nodded agreement. At the same time, the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, the Ancient University, and the 4 Seasons University students also left for the vast celestial ancient city. It was going to be fun there. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.